Tunde babangu mimi.
Kwa hivyo pia unaona nilifanya makosa.
Hana haja na sisi.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
You're here because you're jealous.
Stop it. That's enough. Goodness. She's gone. My daughter ran away. Sandy, let me help you.
I said I can do this. Are you deaf or what?
Wait, where are you
Get
going?
out of my way.
Tell me.
I said get out of my way. I'm telling you that I want you to make me the happiest man in the world. Will you marry me? Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Top of the morning to you all and welcome to Good Morning Kenya. I am Jane Wamboy. We are glad you are with us on this beautiful 22nd day of February 2022. We do trust your morning has been off to a good start. We do trust the weather will be a bit here and there. We have been seeing the weather being very on the higher side of the divide. The temperatures have been quite high, but just looking at the forecast for the day, we'll be having some highs of 26 degrees and lows of 16 degrees with some scattered thunderstorm throughout the day. So you might want to dress appropriately, wear a jacket, even if you're not going to wear it. You'd rather be safe than sorry. Welcome to this live programming. Again, it is one of those significant dates that we are experiencing for the second time this month, featuring 22222. So many twos throughout the day. So we do hope, those that are big on manifesting, you're also going to be doing that today. But nonetheless, welcome to the program. As always, the crew iko tayari. Let's just rope everyone in to say what's up. Victor.
And you've forgotten one thing. It is the second day of the week.
Oh, see that?
Second day of the week. Welcome, everyone. My name is Victor. Welcome to the program. Of course, a lot of debate has been taking place about the cost of living. And the Kenya Kwanza yesterday made a press statement saying that has been brought about by the handshake. And ODM leader Raila Odinga says, no, it's not what it is. What it is all about, we will be discussing that one later on in the next hour on people and politics. And of course, what's shaping in the political world. Welcome, my name is Victor Lo. Doreen.
Yes, and a beautiful morning to you. So even as we talk about the weather, we always know how that ends up sometimes affecting how we move here and then. That's why we are here to give you all the latest updates, what is happening on the roads, what is happening in the news, the different conversations that we have this Tuesday morning. So stay put up until 10 a.m. this morning, and we always appreciate you just for making time to join us. We do not take that for granted. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo.
Good morning. Yes, you are in the right hands this Tuesday morning, just looking at what has been making headlines in as far as news is concerned in the last 24 hours. It will be coming up in not too long. I'm Regina Manyara, glad as always to be able to inform you and share what we have in as far as news is concerned with you each and every morning. Now, the political scene is shaking up. We understand Sagana 3 is still the offing, and today we're going to have a meeting with Jubilee. But where does this leave Deputy President William Ruto? On the headlines, we're going to be talking about the Kalonzo factor as we sample the various dailies, and also why that particular meeting that is expected, or rather is to happen in Sagana, might be the turning point for Raila and Ruto. That will be coming up in not too long. So as we take a quick breather, is to remind you that we have a lot of details and information available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. You can reach us on our social media platform. Official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. Remember to include where you're watching this particular broadcast from. And as a take home this Tuesday morning, I'd want you to know that your energy is unlimited and your birthright. No one can take it away. For now, we take a quick break. We'll be right back. Good morning. This is KBC Channel 1. Good morning, Kenya, and I'm Regina Manyara. You're watching In the Headlines on this 22nd day of February 2022. Now we start off with matters hate speech, where Chief Justice Martha Koome has directed that all pending hate speech cases be concluded within the next 4 months. She was speaking in Eldoret during the inauguration of a new court complex, and the Chief Justice asked heads of the stations to identify all the pending cases and as far as hate speech is concerned in their jurisdictions, and have them dealt with conclusively within the given timelines. Ben Chumba with the details.
A number of hate speech cases currently pending in various courts across the country are set to be concluded before the August 9 polls, following directive by Chief Justice Martha Koome.
Pending hate speech cases ought to be concluded within four months from today, at least to give room for free, fair, and credible elections.
The Chief Justice, who was in Eldoret to lay foundation stone for a court's complex, demanded a progress report from each court station on the implementation of the directive within 3 months.
As heads of stations, do identify all the pending hate speech cases in your stations, and please work out modalities with the trial courts to fast track their resolution, because this goes on to build the confidence Kenyans have with the judiciary to deal with the problems that we encounter.
Koome revealed plans to gazette 119 names of judicial officers, appointed as special magistrates to hear and determine matters relating to offences under the Election Offences Act.
Sabotage our electoral processes by inciting violence and causing pandemonium should be dealt with firmly.
Following raised concerns over delays in hearing and determining hate speech cases, the Chief Justice said Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Eldoret and Nakuru are some of the hotspots designated areas where special courts will be set up. Last week, the Director of Public Prosecution, Nordin Haji, said over 50 hate speech cases were actively under investigations, calling on Kenyans for more evidence to help net the culprits.
Kenya Kwanza Alliance is cautioning Parliament against acceding to the executive and adjusting the country's debt ceiling. The alliance, led by Deputy President William Ruto, is further warning that the current debt ceiling is already unsustainable.
The Kenya Kwanza team, which is in Meru, lashed out at Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani, whom they accuse of borrowing beyond the debt caps set by Parliament, which is a violation of the law. The group claims Kenya's debt has ballooned post the handshake to unimaginable heights.
According to the National Treasury, the public debt has grown sixfold to Kenya shillings 11.7 trillion. 8.2 trillion as direct public debt and 3.5 trillion of guaranteed commitments as of February 2022.
The group now wants Parliament to reject any request from the executive for approval of a new 12 trillion debt ceiling.
The Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury should not sign any new loans, including floating sovereign bonds, during this transition period.
The Alliance have also thrown their weight behind a raft of proposals made to the budget estimates of the 2022-23 financial year by Kikuyu MP Kimani Ichung'wah that include the increase of a county allocation to 495 billion shillings.
We do not need a constitutional amendment to give more money to counties. The budget policy statement of 2022 has proposed to maintain the equitable share of the revenue going to counties at Kenya shillings 370 billion.
Other proposals made by Ichung'wah include a 50 billion credit scheme for the micro, small and medium enterprises, an additional 12 billion shillings for the operationalization of a judiciary fund in line with the constitution to offer the judiciary financial independence and autonomy, an allocation of 1.8 billion shillings to cater for the teacher professional development program, as well as an additional 5 billion shillings for fertilizer subsidy program. The brigade sustaining its criticism of Kenya's current fiscal policy, insisting it was unsustainable.
Na lazima tupange biashara ya kila mtu, ndio kila mtu tumuinue. Sisi tumesema kabla hatujapambana na mambo ya kubadilisha katiba na vyeo na mamlaka ya viongozi, wangoje kwanza tubadilishe uchumi wa Kenya.
Picking up from matters economy is that the ODM party leader Raila Odinga is promising to lower the cost of living if elected president. He was speaking in Lungalunga, Kwale County during the third day of his coastal tour, saying that the cost of basic commodities is now beyond the reach of ordinary Kenyans.
ODM leader Raila Odinga and the Azimio la Umoja was in Mwangulu Market, Lungalunga, Kwale County on day 3 of the coastal tour. Raila says life has become unbearable for the common mwananchi as the cost of living continues to rise, promising to cushion Kenyans once elected president. Sentiments echoed by leaders who accompanied him.
Mimi Raila Odinga nimeshakuwa waziri mkuu wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Najua pale pesa hii. Na mimi niko tayari kutembea na nyinyi tukomboe taifa letu, tulete mabadiliko kwa taifa letu.
Kama Ruto amekaa miaka 9 kwa serikali kama deputy president na ameshindwa kusaidia Wakenya kwa kurudisha gharama ya maisha chini, siawache nafasi sasa baba aingie ili asaidie sisi.
Raila distancing himself from claims that the handshake had created the current predicaments facing the nation.
Hiyo deni wao wamepandisha. Lakini sisi tuna dawa ya kutibu hiyo deni. Tunatuambia bwana Mudavadi, kwa ajili ya maneno wewe mwenyewe ulipokuwa waziri wa fedha ulipandisha hiyo deni. Wewe toka hapo kuna suluhu. Wacha baba na watu wako waingie pale. Wataleta tofauti.
Wao ndio walisema ushuru uwekwe katika petroli. Ruto mwenyewe ndiye alisema hivyo. Leo wako pale Meru anasema ya kwamba yeye anatengana na hiyo maneno. Mungu hapa si mwongo.
He promised locals that he will find a solution to the perennial water problems they have been facing for years.
Chimba ama mabwawa makubwa. Bwawa ya kuvuna maji ya mvua. Wakati ile mvua inanyesha, tunavuna hiyo maji. Ili kama sasa kwa kiangazi kimekuja, maji ipo ya kutosha kutumisha wananchi.
The Azimio la Umoja team will be heading to Taita Taveta County on Tuesday. From Kwale County, I am Anburu.
Team now down in Mombasa is going to be keeping tabs on what happens in Taita Taveta today. Now, still keeping up with matters politics, the Jubilee party has launched a mass registration exercise ahead of the party nominations and primaries. More than 2,000 delegates from 12 constituencies will converge in Limuru's Jumia Conference Center to push the agenda. The members have vowed to rally the electorate to vote in Jubilee aspirants in the upcoming general elections. Timothy Kipnusu with the details.
As the National Delegates Convention for the Jubilee Party nears, party leaders from Kiambu County have put their foot forward to ensure it's a success. Addressing hundreds of party supporters in Limuru, Kiambu County, after launching the mass registration exercise for its members who will participate in the party nominations, Area Governor James Nyoro said the party was now rejuvenated to face their opponents.
Tuingie kwa hiyo azimio tukiwa na strength, tukiwa na majority members, ili sasa sisi tuwe na uwezo wa kuongea katika hiyo serikali.
Nyoro revealed that President Uhuru Kenyatta will visit each county after the NDC to rally support for the Azimio la Umoja Brigade and ensure it garners support in the upcoming general elections.
Ametuita tuende NDC, tutaenda tusikie, na sisi yeye ni baba yetu. Ile njia atatuambia tufuate, tutafuata, na hiyo tumekubaliana katika mkutano wa leo.
Na tukienda at a national level, vile Mheshimiwa Rais ndiye mwakilishi wetu.
Chama yetu ni chama ya Jubilee na kiongozi wa chama yetu ni Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
The governor at the same time announced that he will be defending his seat, urging Kiambu residents to give him a fresh term to serve them.
Na mimi ningetaka kuwauliza vile tumekubaliana leo, ate tunasema Nyoro 5 fresh.
Elsewhere, the Jubilee Party has launched an aggressive campaign to popularize the party within Nakuru County, targeting all the 11 sub-counties ahead of the party primaries and the August polls. Speaking while hosting a number of aspirants and grassroots youth from Nakuru Town East, Jubilee Party Nakuru branch chairman James Karimi revealed that the exercise is also meant to highlight President Uhuru Kenyatta's successes in a bid to popularize Jubilee's support and increase its chances of bagging more electoral seats.
Tupange nyumba yetu. Hata hiyo ODM wamepanga nyumba yao. Na sisi tupange yetu ndio tuende pamoja. Na kwa nini tumeharibu nyumba yetu?
Sote lazima turudi kwa nyumba moja, Jubilee, ndio tuweze kuendelea na mikakati ya maendeleo katika taifa letu tukufu.
Ni vyema wajisajili kama wanachama wa Jubilee. Tunajua kuna watu ambao wamekuwa wakitumia data, wamekuwa wakichukua data ya vijana ovyo ovyo, na wamekuwa wakimisuse, wanawaregister kwa vyama vingine.
Tumekuwa na misururu ya mikutano ya kuweza kukiamusha chama cha Jubilee ili ya kwamba kiwe ni chama imara.
From the campaign trail, now speaking about matters of justice. Now on a follow-up case here where the door to the cell holding self-confessed serial killer Manston Wanjala, now deceased, was not locked on the night he escaped from the Jogoo Road police station. Now, this is what a police constable, Neville Mwabil, told the Milimani Law Courts on Monday, that only the main gate to the cells was locked on the night that Wanjala escaped from police custody. Constable Mwabili told the court that on the same night, the station was hit by a power blackout.
The trial of Deputy Officer commanding Jogoo Road Police Station and 2 other officers over the escape of the late serial killer Manston Wanjala began on Monday at the Milimani Law Courts. The first witness, Police Constable Neville Mobile Mashoke, told the court that the main cubicle where Wanjala had been detained was not locked and that there was a power blackout at the station before he finished his shift at 6:50 p.m.
The time you are handing over, there was no light.
That is clear.
What light did you use to hand over to him?
For the mobile phones you are on.
Mobile phones?
That is clear.
Thank you. That's what I want.
Wanjala was there to take a formal plea in the murder probe, where he's linked to 14 murder incidents in Nairobi, Machakos and Western Kenya. Wanjala had confessed to killing 12 children when he was first arrested in July 2021. Elsewhere, Advocate Edwin Karwanda has been charged for allegedly stealing 1.6 million shillings from an Indian Rahikite Shah in a land sale transaction. He pleaded not guilty and was granted a bond of 500,000 Kenyan shillings or a cash bail of 150,000 Kenyan shillings. The case will be mentioned on the 7th of March for pre-trial directions.
Moving away from matters of justice into health, where the Senate Health Committee has summoned Nairobi Metropolitan Service Director Mohammed Badi to appear before it and answer questions pertaining public health clinic situated in Parklands that has allegedly been allocated to a private developer. Led by Senator Millicent Omanga, the committee visited the site yesterday but could not access the premises as it was locked from the inside.
The committee visited this site to conduct an inspection on this site that once played host to the High Ridge Clinic but is now alleged to be in the hands of a private developer. The team could, however, not access the premises as it was locked from the inside. Nominated Senator Millicent Omanga, who led the team, questioned whether due process was followed through the Nairobi Metropolitan Services sanctioning fresh construction that has already commenced.
This land grabbing will not continue. These cartels will not continue. We have to stop it. As a Senate, as an oversight body which protects the county governments, we will not allow such inhumanity, I don't know how I'd call it, to continue.
This facility located next to the Westlands MCA's office is said to be the compensation for the project, raising questions as to why one public land is being compensated by another.
NMS has not really answered our questions to date. We have written to them, was it in November? And up to now, we have not gotten a report. But how do you compensate one land with another, one public land with another?
Due process has not been followed. This was public land. There is no record anywhere showing that there was a resolution by the council to dispose of it.
The committee now wants NMS Director General Mohammed Badi to appear in Senate and answer to their concerns.
To matters business now, where those sharing personal data with third parties without consent face a fine of 1% of their total turnover. Now, the Data Protection Commissioner Immaculate Kasait says the parastatal is registering data controllers and processors to facilitate the enforcement of the Data Protection Act.
The Data Protection Commission says registration of data controllers and processors is expected to be complete soon, ushering in implementation of stringent rules that are expected to regulate the country's ICT sector. Among other measures, companies infringing provisions of the Kenya Data Protection Act will attract a penalty of up to 5 million shillings or, in the case of an undertaking, up to 1% of the firm's annual turnover. Individuals will be liable to a fine not exceeding 3 million shillings or to an imprisonment term not exceeding 10 years or to both. The Data Commission is urging Kenyans to only give basic personal information to protect themselves from online exploitation.
Some of the information which you're being used by third party were information which were actually collected legally. And therefore, what we are saying, it's a high time institutions started being accountable for the information they collect.
This, as the Data Protection Commission is calling on Kenyans to notify the Data Commissioner within 72 hours of becoming aware of a breach and to the data subject in writing within a reasonable practical period.
Taking photography is not one of those requirements. It is just basically identifying yourself. So we will be able to guide the owners of buildings and also private security in terms of what the exact requirements are after we have had consultation with stakeholders on that particular issue.
This, as the government says it will soon announce the second phase of Huduma number registration, despite 6 million Huduma number cards from the first phase that are yet to be processed and printed.
Checking with the government, keep watching this space. We'll be notified with regards to when, the rollout in terms of operationalization of the utilization of Huduma card will be, given okay by the government. If you have not register, don't worry, phase 2 is coming and will be notified in regard to when it will be started.
The Huduma number rollout has faced legal headwinds, with an appeal to a High Court decision declaring the registration illegal scheduled to be heard on the 18th of next month.
Now, this particular development comes in the wake of, complaints, especially on social media platforms, with Kenyans coming out to say that their data is being misused, especially now that we are on the campaign trail. Further on, we saw the prosecution, or rather the charges that befell a man who shared indecent photos of his lover, and he was taken to court. He now faces criminal charges there. Now, crossing over to matters of power and energy is that Kenya Power has embarked on a countrywide clampdown on illegal power connections that cost the company billions of shillings annually. The utility firm says Nairobi, Rift Valley and Kiambu regions are the worst affected regions. The company further says cases of transformer vandalism have gone down by more than 80% since the government banned the trade of scrap metal a month ago.
For years, Kenya Power has battled with the issue of illegal connections which cost the company billions in unpaid bills and power interruptions. Last month, most of the country were thrown into darkness after criminals vandalized a high-voltage power line that evacuates power from the 7 fork dams. This led President Uhuru Kenyatta to ban scrap metal business in the country. According to Kenya Power, the decision has led to an 80% drop in transformer and electricity pylons vandalism.
The major target for Nakuru has been transformers. In the last 6 months, we running from July to December, we lost 43 transformers, Nakuru County alone. Putting that at 500,000 cost per transformer, we are talking about more than 20 million that we have lost in the transformers being vandalized.
Since then, Kenya Power has embarked on a major clampdown of illegal power connections and stepped surveillance of power infrastructure. According to the company, it loses over 200 million shillings every month in revenue in Central Rift due to illegal connections and vandalism of transformers and conductors. Kenya Power business manager in Nakuru County, Engineer Henry Pwani, says Naivasha, Nakuru, Njoro and Maimahiu have been identified as the most affected areas in the region.
Almost 60-70% of customers here have been given illegal supplies, either illegal or they bypass their meters, so they are not using power that is measured.
Pwani notes that the electricity bills in the Central Rift region stood at 1.4 billion per month, but there were 23% commercial losses due to illegal connections. Additionally, theft and vandalism of electricity supply equipment is an economic crime under the Energy Act, with minimum fines of 5 million shillings or imprisonment of 10 years or both on conviction. On vandalism, Pwani noted that between July and December last year, Nakuru County lost 43 transformers worth over 20 million shillings, leading to massive losses for the company.
Now, from matters of power, and we'll get into matters of water, where about 60% of treated water is lost during supply, a feat that could be avoided with adoption of digital water tracking system that quickly flags bursts or vandalized water pipes. Now, Ruben Kogi, Xylem Business Development Manager at East Africa, says analog water meter readers are easily manipulated and utilities should go with the changing times to ensure efficiency in water supply. Hibak Said has more details.
The pressure from rapid urbanization has seen illegal connections or vandals targeting the piped water infrastructure. Manufacturers believe most water piping systems are old and weak, paving the way for criminals to steal the finite resource. Digitization of the piped water systems would ensure that information from individual residences and institutions directly feed to the cloud and thereafter be translated onto the billing system, reducing the margin of error significantly.
And the services component is so critical because as we adding on digitalization, as we adding on better technologies, it's important that we can maintain these technologies at the right level so that they are optimal and they're always running efficiently.
They further state a digitization of the system would reduce cases of water poisoning, as the digital water tracking system would update water suppliers on the purity of water at every stage of treatment.
What we want to do and what we always do is to work with them in terms of developing initiatives that promote the responsible use of water.
All digital empowerment there and integration in all aspects of the economy, including water storage and use. Crossing over to the sporting arena, where the road to Glen Eagles Johnny Walker Golf Series trod to the lush greens of Kericho Golf Club, which hosted the 8th leg of the tournament. Now over 100 golfers drawn from Kericho Golf Club and neighbouring Nakuru, Kisii and Kakamega clubs converged at the 9-hole golf course.
Home player Laimod Keter led his team of Kibeto, Joel Chabon and Ngetich Ignatius to emerge the event's overall winners, having carried a combined 115 points. Coming in second was the team led by Kericho Club captain David Biegon and comprising Edward Masiga, Wesley Siele and Chris Briggen, whose efforts returned a score of 114 points. Claiming the third and final qualifying position was the team of Eric Mutai, Julius Rono, Patrick Cheriot and Patrick Langat, who hit 113 points. Meanwhile, Billy Sambu scored 32 points to emerge as the men's category winner, 1 more point ahead of James Kabiru, who posted 31 points. In the ladies category, Elizabeth Nyenyi posted 3 points to claim the top spot, ahead of Elena Wamboi, who scored 21 points. In the longest drive challenge, Geoffrey Karaoke and Faith Chemutai were the stars in the men and ladies categories, respectively.
So first series coming to Kericho, we have been fighting for it, but at long last, we have gotten it, and I will be very, very proud to see my players winning for that trip.
The turnout has been really good. I can't even believe we're almost about to hit the 1,000 mark. So of course, when we started, the reception has been fantastic, and even more so now, I'm even getting more excited as we get to the semi-finals and finals and seeing who's going to make it out to Glen Eagles.
Focus now shifts the current country club for the 9th event in the series slated for Saturday.
Well, that is what is happening in the world of golf. Let's talk about matters of football and soccer. So today, the Champions League matches are as follows. The round of 16, we're going to have at 11 p.m. tonight, Chelsea taking on Lille, while Villarreal will be squaring it out with Juventus. So indeed, those are matches to watch. Remember, it is 11 p.m. tonight. We're going to be having Champions League matches tomorrow, and I'll still say it to you tomorrow. Manchester United is going to be squaring it out with Atletico Madrid, while Benfica will be squaring it out with Ajax, but that is tomorrow. But today we focus on that match between Chelsea and Lille at 11 p.m. and Villarreal taking on Juventus at the same time. We have further details regarding what has been happening in the sporting arena locally and internationally available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Well, that brings in the headlines to a close. We are not done and dusted. We take a quick breather. When you're back, we're going to be sampling the various dailies that we have with us in studio this Tuesday morning. Do not go away.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle, or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns, and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news, and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Nataka niende niwe kule karibu ili babu Tunde akinihitaji mimi niwe wa msaada kwake.
Nimekataa, hakuna kwenda kijijini.
Wewe Tunde akuhusu nini wewe? Tunde babangu mimi.
Kwa hivyo pia wewe unaona nilifanya makosa.
Hana haja na sisi.
You're here because you're jealous.
Stop it. That's enough. Goodness. She's gone. My daughter ran away. Sandy, let me help you.
I said I can do this. Are you deaf or what?
Wait, where are you
going? Get out of my way.
Tell me.
I said
no.
Get out of my way.
I'm telling you that I want you to make me the happiest man in the world. Will you marry me? Lying heart.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Welcome back to the program. We continue with Good Morning Kenya. Time for us to quickly look at how the dailies are looking like, and we start with the People's Daily today, whereby Sagana 3 meeting is set, and that rally is expected to shape Mount Kenya politics. Thousands of delegates are expected to attend. Meeting set to bring together CS, PS, governors, MPs, ward reps, and aspirants in support of Raila's Azimio. That is actually what forms the front page of this particular daily this morning. And also, as that is happening, plans for Sunday launch of Azimio la Umoja coalition also in top gear. And this will be preceded by several NDCs by parties supporting ODM party leader Raila Odinga presidential bid to be held between Thursday and Saturday. And of course, the two major parties supporting this particular coalition, that is ODM and Jubilee, also expected to hold their NDCs on Friday and Saturday respectively. And again, as the hashtag of lower food prices is continuing, entering its third day, this has sort of like set the ground for politicians to just blame each other on this particular issue. And this was put forth by Kenyans to try and see how they could raise attention for perhaps the state to see how best they could reduce the high cost of living and the cost of food prices. And again, like I mentioned, of course, this has just formed a battleground between politicians to blame each other. And lastly, the former Langata parliamentary seat aspirant, that is Stanley Livondo, still stands firm on those assassination claims that he made during the homecoming of Moses Kuria. area. He even on further went to claim that some of those who knew about that particular plot have been killed, and he added that some of the witnesses were also out of the country but were ready to come and testify. And he also went on to urge the DCI to investigate the matter, saying that he is a leader and he cannot speak lies. Victor.
Page of the Star here. Uhuru planned to drive Ruto out of Central. Jubilee grassroots meetings christened Red Army activated as Uhuru heads to Sagana, which has now been called Sagana 3. On the front page there, we have got illustration of Kenyans groaning under the high cost of living, something that we'll be talking about later on. On the second page here, ICC rejects new statement in Gisheru. The case has been ongoing at the International Criminal Court, and the court now observed that allowing the introduction of evidence would be prejudicial to the defense in the case. So ICC has rejected new statement in Gisheru case. Uhuru planned to drive Ruto out of Central. Uhuru lieutenants have now dared the DP to a political duel as Uhuru heads to Sagana State Lodge on Thursday for a major, on Wednesday rather, for a major meeting which has now been christened as Sagana 3. It will be this meeting that the head of state is expected to publicly declare ODM boss Raila Odinga as his choice of president. Some of the activities that the president is now lining up for revival includes rebranding with a fresh Mbele Pamoja slogan, opens more grassroots offices across the country, overhauls secretariat leadership, rolls out aggressive grassroots activation meetings, and holds parliamentary group meetings with Uhuru. But the question is, can the president move the mountain? Some question that we'll be answering later on. Handshake to blame for crisis, for debt crisis. That's according to the DP. He says that the alliance says that the figure has shot from 4.5 trillion to 11.7 trillion shillings. And yesterday, ODM boss said there is nothing like that. Handshake helped address many problems. That is according to Raila. He was speaking yesterday in Kinango in Kwale County. Of course, they are winding up their coastal tour today in Taita Taveta County. Regina?
Now, talking about Martha's news, I am quickly sampling, the Standard this morning, and the front page is all about politics and, all eyes focused on the Sagana talks. The big read here is Sagana talks, a turning point for Raila Ruto. If President reveals what caused fallout with his deputy, he could swing a large part of Mount Kenya to shift alliances, especially if he signals revival of his party. Now, tomorrow's meeting is critical, coming just days before Jubilee and the ODM delegates conferences are expected to endorse Raila for State House. So according to Amos Kimunya, who has been quoted on the front page of this particular daily, and he's the National Assembly Majority Leader, Ruto defied his boss on premature campaigns and will pay dearly for this after Uhuru's visit. Those are words that have been captured in this particular daily of the big read in this particular newspaper this morning. And also another story that has found itself on the front page is Kenyans use social media to demand for lower prices. This hashtag has been trending from the weekend, spilling over to yesterday night. And it has attracted, a lot of conversation, both proponents and opponents of it. Some of them coming out to say that, it is the work of the legislature to actually put down policies and law. So you currently are inquired to query what your member of parliament has done or is doing to ensure that we have low food prices. And there was a question that was posed. How much with 1,000 bob, how much or what product can you buy comfortably in comparison to what you could purchase with 1,000 bob 10 years back? If you want to understand the cost of inflation and where we are. That's a story that has found itself here on the front page. And also matters of national importance. Livondo, the politician, maintains comments and attempts on the president's life were correct and says he has given investigators names of people involved in the plot. Now, this comes after he actually went to the DCI offices in Kiambu on Kembu Road there, to have that his statement taken and give evidence. So what evidence, what was said, we will be keeping tabs on that. Further on matters business being Tuesday, we're talking about financial matters, is that state-owned suppliers are cool. 468 billion shillings in pending bills. This is despite the directive to have all pending bills paid. So we're still lagging behind 468 billion shillings. Now, as we talk about, the examinations that just are about around the corner from the 7th, that is, we're having the rehearsals. Fear is ruling the ghost town of Samburu. What happens to these candidates? Now residents are moving away for the sake of their safety. These are some of the stories that have found themselves on the front page of this paper, being the 22nd of February 2022. Jane?
Now, as we finally go through the front page of this final daily this morning, that story concerning the food prices has been featured here, with the question being, what will the poor eat? And going through that particular article, it talks of the prices change, the difference in prices comparing last year to this year. They have featured the prices of cooking oil, beef, sugar, bread, skuma wiki, just to name but a few. And further on, they go on to say that the devil is actually in the details, because prices for large amounts of these commodities are cheaper compared to buying smaller quantities of these commodities, which is what most Kenyans have to do, looking at the purchasing power that they currently have. So that story has also been featured here. The main read concerning Wiper Party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, and here they call him the indecisive kingmaker. The indecisive kingmakers, as all eyes are on him, as he is being courted by allies from the Kenya Kwanza team as well as the Azimio team, as per what this daily has. And they say that he has been courted, negotiated with, and consulted for months on end, leading to his political suitors. But in a never-ending game of cat and mouse, he still remains to be a kingmaker and not a kingpin, as he has called himself previously. Now, that is a story that has also been covered here. And as we bring this particular segment to a close, we can also not fail to mention the ongoing ICC case concerning Mr. Gisheru. And yesterday there was the second witness who was testifying in what has been termed as an explosive testimony in open session, where the deputy president was mentioned adversely when it comes to the tampering of witnesses in the cases that were leveled against him. And here they go on to actually highlight part of that witness's testimony, where he said that, or rather he was told by Mr. Gisheru that the money that was used to bribe him came from the deputy president and was approved by the deputy president. And looking at the demands that he had made, they ranged from his initial demands were 20 million Kenya shillings, a farm, a plot of land, a car, and jobs for his children. And the report that he got the first time round is that the deputy president was only willing to approve 500,000, but after further negotiations, he did get 5 million Kenya shillings allegedly, and the other demands that he had tabled. So that is as far as that particular story goes. Of course, some of this information has been redacted for public safety concerns in regards to this ongoing case. So that is what has been featured here, largely on the front page of the Daily Nation. The other stories have, of course, been mentioned. Now, that brings us to a close of In the Headlines. But before we get to move on to the other segments, let's have a quick look at what the roads have for us this morning. Doreen.
Right, so this is our focus today. This is Upper Hill as well as Lower Hill. If you can remember, this had actually been what had been happening on this stretch. This is Upper Hill, one of those very key roads, especially here in Nairobi, and it's just simply because it is one of those areas that first became a commercial hub or a commercial center. So clearly a lot of activities, just like what you would see around areas of Westlands, much as it is a residential area. It is also largely a commercial center or a commercial hub, as I mentioned. So this is part of what informed that expansion that had been taking place since sometime around 2017 thereabout. What had remained on this particular stretch, particularly on the lower link of on the lower hill, rather, just around the area around Upper Hill, what had remained of this particular construction was the putting up of the non-motorized transport system. Now, if you fully well know, most of these roads that either have been earmarked for an expansion process, particularly like this one, a reconstruction altogether, or an entire construction process, recarpeting as well. These are some of the things that either NMS, Kura, or Kenha, depending on whichever body is mandated to spearhead this particular project, these are some of the things that they're putting in place to just try and ensure that we have well clear designated lanes for vehicles, both public and private, for motorcycles as well as for pedestrians. So part of what had stalled this project a bit was the inception of COVID-19 around sometime in 2020, but so far it's still coming along well, particularly when it comes to that non-motorized transport system project on that particular area. The entire construction process of the main road was already complete, so what had remained was this section. So what we want to look at today very quickly is how all of this perhaps impacted or affected traffic altogether, and also how the entire expansion process is perhaps leading to traffic reduction, since that is what informed that expansion process of Upper Hill as well as Lower Hill. So this is how the section or the road is looking like. As like I mentioned, it is one of those roads just like Westlands, where oftentimes you'd be expected to see traffic, especially on those lanes that is leaving the areas around the estates coming to the city center, simply because it is also a commercial center. So much as you'd be expecting to see a lot of activities, especially as you come to the CBD, given the fact that a lot of workstations are stationed around the city center, also the same is witnessed when it comes to Upper Hill, because again, also a lot of workstations are centered around this area just because of that simple reason. But right now, this is how it is looking like this morning. You know, traffic is not just being spotted at all, just showing how that entire construction process is serving its purpose, and serving its purpose very well, because this was one of those reasons why the expansion process happened. However, as you leave areas around the Haile Selassie Avenue roundabout, just before you get to Kenyatta, again before you get to branch off to Lower Hill Road as well as Upper Hill Link Road, on that particular section, traffic builds up a bit, but a manageable kind of traffic. But as you branch off heading to Upper Hill on that area, in fact on both lanes of that entire section, moving at a very swift pace, no traffic at all. So perhaps if your business, your workstation is around this area, this is just the best time for you to perhaps be leaving your homes. If at all you're living areas of Ngong Road, Bagathi Way, perhaps Langata, or even City Center, coming to this area. And again, if you intend to leave this area, either going to those areas that I've mentioned or even city center, this is still the best time for you to be doing that, because right now there's no traffic at all, and this is throughout the entire Upper Hill Road. And the beauty is that this is actually being witnessed on both lanes. So both lanes simply means as you leave areas of Haile Selassie Avenue, as you leave areas of Lower Hill, coming through Upper Hill, as well as also leaving areas of Upper Hill, going through those areas that I've mentioned, particularly also Kenyatta. But this is just changing right this very minute. As you get to branch off to one of those slip roads that gets to branch off from the major Upper Hill Road, that is Mara Road, on that particular section, just that around that area is where traffic begins to build up. Heavy kind of traffic moving at a very slow pace, but this is particular on this lane as you leave Upper Hill, going all the way to areas of Lower Hill as well as Haile Selassie Avenue roundabout. They're just particularly on that lane. Like I mentioned again, it's really one of those different peculiar roads, because as you'd really be expecting to be seeing traffic as you head over to the city center, sometimes it's quite different, because on this particular stretch is as you come to Upper Hill. But again, also this is well and largely characterized by those reasons that I just gave you earlier. Nonetheless, still a good time for you to perhaps be coming to the city center or even heading over to Upper Hill if you intend to do so. On the other section, as you leave Upper Hill, as you head over to areas around Kenyatta, still traffic is there on that section, just as you slightly head over to Kenyatta on both of these lanes. But again, it's still a manageable kind of traffic. There's barely any kind of heavy kind of traffic on this entire stretch. So like I mentioned, this is again one of those best times for you to be leaving your homes if you intend to this early morning. So again, clearly this could perhaps remain one of those key road and area of focus up until we see perhaps that entire construction process, particularly when it comes to the non-motorized transport system, is complete and opened up to the public altogether, and try to see how all this will be impacting and affecting traffic altogether.
It's time we let Jenny go.
She's not only dumping your brother, she's abandoning the whole family.
Look, this is an engagement ring my boyfriend bought for me. The initials of our English names are carved into it, J&J.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
You're here because you're jealous.
Alonso, stop it. That's enough. Goodness. She's gone. My daughter ran away. Santi, let me help you.
I said I can do this! Are you deaf or what?
Wait, where are you
Get
going?
out of my way!
Tell me.
I said
No!
get out of my way! I'm telling you that I want you to make me the happiest man in the world. Will you marry me?
Lying heart fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Welcome back. It's now 7:30 and time for us to go political. And let's just have a discussion here and make sense of what's been happening across the country in the last 24 hours. And with me in studio, I have got nominated Senator Sylvia Kasanga on Wiper Party, as well as Lavenda Ojala, who is yearning for that seat, woman representative seat in Homa Bay County. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Today is one man, two ladies show. And I'm going to start with them on a kitchen note, because they are good organizers in terms of spending that shilling. For us, give me 1,000 bob and I know what I'll do with it. For them, you give them 1,000 bob, the entire family is fed. Is it okay to start with you, Lavenda, that 1,000 bob cannot feed an entire family right now, as alleged?
Yeah, because the cost of living has really gone up. Now 1,000 bob has become useless. Not unlike before, you could go to the supermarket and buy so much with 1,000 shillings. Right now, you get in there, you buy like 2 items, 1,000 is gone, just like that. Because the cost of living has really gone high. And that is why Kenyans are complaining. And I believe something should be done. Not populism, but something must start. at the policy formulation stage. It's really sad when we see parliamentarians behaving like commoners, yet they can do something in parliament. Why is the DP complaining like any other Kenyan? Yet he chairs Intergovernmental Budget Committee and the Economic Council. So I believe with the numbers he has in parliament, he can do something in the National Assembly.
He can do something.
So let our leaders stop complaining like the voters. We need to come up with something to sort out this mess once and for all.
Yes.
And electricity and the cost of fuel, that is where the problem begins. So if you can find a way of reducing the cost of fuel and electricity, I think you will be somewhere. Because you can't just tell people to reduce the prices of the commodities, yet there's somewhere that we ought to have started from. So I believe in the whole of this thing, Parliament should be able to formulate policies that can actually guard the way the prices of commodities are done. Yeah, so that is my take about it.
When you talk of Parliament, Sylvia is in the House right now.
Yes.
You stand accused, so to speak, that parliamentarians are not doing their bit
It's true.
to legislate.
It's true. Actually, a lot of people, if you listen to the commentary, will say Parliament has not really done its duty to Kenyans in this electoral cycle. In fact, even the whole question of how did the debt, raise to the levels that it has risen, you can say that the watchdog of government, who is Parliament, did not put their foot down adequately, did not monitor adequately, did not say no enough at the right time, of which when the government was seeking these, extensions and, moving up the debt ceiling to now where we are at. And that's a fact. Yeah, most parliamentarians will tell you that that is the situation as it is. But now that we are where we are right now, actually it is very distressing, even to me, that I'm seeing my fellow parliamentarians now politicizing this situation, a situation that is really affecting Kenyans. Like Mheshimiwa here is saying, truly Kenyans are suffering. The cost of living has gone up. You don't even need to be, a rocket scientist to figure out that the cost has gone up. I mean, you just need to go and shop for a few, daily items, bread, milk, and you can see there's a significant difference from what it was probably a year ago, 2 years ago. So the fact remains that the inflation is biting Kenyans, and it's biting on the most basic of commodities, and that is unacceptable in a country like today. So instead of parliamentarians going out there and using this as a campaign tool, and the ones in fact who are shouting the loudest, let me tell you, the ones who are shouting the loudest, you'll be surprised that they were sitting in committees that allowed the government in the first instance to raise the debt ceiling. They were the ones who are sitting in those delegated legislation committees and the finance committees of the National Assembly about 3 years ago.
Would you mention them?
Well, I can't mention them, but they're affiliated to Kenya Kwanza. And right now they're the ones who are speaking the loudest, yet they were part and parcel of the raising of the debt ceiling in our country today. Now they're using it as a political tool to go and tell Kenyans that they are the ones who have the right answers for Kenyans, and that is really wrong. That is playing with the livelihoods of Kenyans. That is, playing with the psyche of our Kenyan people. And I hope Kenyans can see through this. I hope Kenyans can see that they're being played with. And they should really take action now that the election is coming here so that they can choose their right leaders. But that is the situation.
Absolutely. And when you're in town here, we feel the pinch. Equally, people down there in Mashinani. Mheshimiwa Lavenda, when you go to the village and you talk to those people, what's the feeling generally on the ground in terms of economy?
The feeling is that the cost of living has really gone high. They can no longer afford basic commodities like sugar, salt, oil. But in areas where farming is done, we find that our farmers are really doing well. But now transporting these commodities from the farm to the market, it's also expensive because the fuel prices has gone up. They can also not store them because the fuel of the electricity is also up. So this is where the problem started. And I think our leaders should not use the prices of commodities to sway votes for themselves. Because right now we are in the mood of politics. They're trying to use this to whip emotions, yet some of them have been in government for years, So I don't think they're being genuine by using this thing to sway voters. Let us find solutions. There's still time, and I believe those who are in charge can find long-lasting solutions to the skyrocketing prices, of food. So let us just get down there and get a solution once and for all for our people.
Mheshimiwa Kasanga, what's the actual figure in question? Is it 8 trillion or 11 trillion as said by Kanini Kega?
Well, you know, now in Parliament we'll have to go with what Kanini Kega is telling us, that is the figure that the budget policy statement will be dealing with. That is a figure that will be circulated in Parliament and eventually will come to Senate. Yes. Because it all emanates from Parliament. Actually, it's a National Assembly that deals with particularly this aspect of debt, because it's a money issue which senators don't deal with. Senators only deal with the county monies. Yes. But, you know, going by what Kanini Kega is saying, then it is what he says. But going by a lot of the commentary that I've listened to from our economists, they bank it at 11 billion. And that is 11 trillion. And they're attributing that to the monies that are borrowed by parastatals. And they all form part and parcel of that debt, whether we like to admit it or not. So then there are parastatals that are also borrowing. And of course, the payments are going to be done through the Kenya, you know, our taxpayers. So it all boils up to that amount of money. So there's that a bit of impasse there. Yeah. But I'm not worried because the right figures will come out. I think what Kanini Kega said is that he has withheld the budget policy statement. Let them look through the numbers one more time and then come back to us and tell us what is the position that we are dealing with right now. So I wouldn't worry too much as at now, because this is something that is live. It's under conversation and is going to be dealt with.
So you all agree that it's been politicized?
Yeah, it's been
politicized.
Okay. You know, when it comes to politics, matters stomach and politics don't match. They don't go hand in hand. So perhaps the government should, and you as leaders, you have a chance now to rectify the whole situation so that the price of the common commodities is controlled. Okay, let's talk about the issue at hand. You are starting with you, Kasanga. Wiper and ODM and KANU have a deal on Saturday. What's your feeling on that?
What's my feeling on that? Well, number one, Wiper Party, of course, our flag bearer is His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. We gave him the mandate in the Yatta Declaration to go ahead and negotiate on behalf of the people of Ukambani. And he keeps briefing us on all the conversations he's been having. So we are well briefed. And there's one last bit of the conversation that we are waiting to hear from. So as soon as they come from the politicking in, what do you call it, in Mombasa area, in Mombasa region, in the coastal region, then we expect that we shall be briefed on what will happen on Friday. As of now, we are hoping, and really what it is that we want and what it is that we have put our foot down is that any conversations happening with the ODM leader should happen in such a way that both our two leaders, our two flag bearers, are on the same level plate in terms of conversation. They're negotiating as equal partners. This is what people need to really realize. Even when you see the politicians in Ukambani and our governors trying to pull Kalonzo's feet, you can see those memes that they're trying to drag him into Azimio. We are saying that is not how we are going to enter into Azimio. In fact, we are not entering into Azimio. We are having a discussion, we are having a negotiation where our party leaders are negotiating as equal partners because they are both able, and one owes the other a significant political debt. Raila owes Kalonzo a political debt where he was supposed to have supported him in 2022. And so going forward, they can only negotiate as equal partners.
So that's the base of argument.
That is the base of argument. That is why, you know, until we have that sort of solution on how they can work together as equal partners, then really we might not have a deal. And that is why you'll hear the party leader of Wiper saying that, you know, if that deal then doesn't come in that manner where we are equal partners, then they are ready to go at it by themselves.
Perhaps that is the reason why over the weekend they said they want a structured dialogue.
There has to be structured dialogue, yes.
I'm yet to understand what the meaning of this structured dialogue, because Lavenda, when you hear what Sylvia Kasanga Honorable is talking about, is that they are not entering the Azimio.
Yes.
They want to be as equal partners. But then, all along, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka has been on the other side of One Kenya Alliance, and then we have got ODM now, and then actually who is now calling who into the party?
Well, I don't agree with Mheshimiwa here that Raila owes Kalonzo a debt for 2022. Yes, it is true they worked together in 2013 and 2017.
Yes.
But Raila did not go to State House. So he still has to make it this year for him to return the favor. But how do you return the favor? Yet it did not happen as agreed.
Yes.
Raila did not make it to State House. So he's there right now running for presidency. So let us just be realistic with this thing. I'm a realist myself. Because right now, as things stand, I think it's shaping up to be a two candidate race. We have Raila Odinga, we have William Samoei Ruto, the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. So the better thing that Kalonzo should do is just weigh options between these two forces. Which one am I joining? Because I don't really think he's really genuine to say Raila owes him something, yet Raila is not the president. He's trying again this year. So the best he can do is to come, they join hands, they try it again. Then next time now Raila can return the favor. But for now, Raila is running for presidency, and the best that Kalonzo can do is just to come, they join hands together with Raila Odinga, they go to State House, they work together because they have done it before. Nothing can really stop them from working together again. So I think we welcome Wiper to Azimio. We work together, we win this thing round one, we make it to State House. Yes.
Mheshimiwa, when they come together as equal partners, so what positions will they go for?
The issue is not so much the positions. The issue is now how can we work together. And those are the salient details that are being discussed. I can tell you there's a lot of conversation. And let me just tell you about the structured dialogue.
Yes, because it came out so profoundly in Mombasa.
I'll tell you why.
Yes.
What my sister here might not know is that there was actually a written agreement back in 2017 on how then His Excellency Raila Odinga will support Kalonzo regardless of whether they win or not. That he will support him in 2022 after, of course, having supported him twice over. So there is a written agreement to that fact. And it is convenient now that suddenly the agreement, not that it is null and void, it still stands, but now it's being disregarded. And you see now that is what causes mistrust amongst people who are trying to work together. And also incidentally, we are very clear, and Kalonzo has come out very clearly, so has all the other OCA principles, that we are only going to work with like-minded people. And when we look at all the other, leaders who are seeking the vote this year to lead this government, there is only one other camp so far that we can work with. And that is the Azimio camp, and not the Kenya Kwanza camp. We are very clear on that, because one of our strongest conversations we are having with Kenyans today is, for us, we have to deal with corruption and we have to strengthen devolution. And those two items, you will not hear them coming from the Kenya Kwanza team. So we are clear on who we are likely to be able, who are like-minded leaders who we want to work with. So for us, we are happy to get into conversations. But why we are insisting that they have to be structured is because of the lack of trust that we have seen, where pre-election agreements are tossed aside when people now enter into government. And although we have the amendment law, the political amendment law, that now safeguards pre-election agreements, we still insist that we need to have clear technical points that lead up to whatever agreement that we shall come up with, which can hold, through the test of time.
Let me just interrogate you briefly. The pre-pact between Honorable Kalonzo and Raila Odinga was done under NASA, right?
Yes.
And NASA is no more.
Yes.
So we cannot say that the pact still remains active?
Actually, what I can tell you is that when finally the agreement will be made public, it was not a NASA document. It was a document between His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga. It was the two principles. So you will see it when the document will be made public, which I'm sure it will be, if at all the things don't go as envisioned. But it's our prayer that by Friday we will have an answer.
Okay, Mheshimiwa Lavenda, it seems there's going to be some boiling pot in the next coalition to be formed over the weekend, because if that is the situation, then you can imagine what Honorable Raila Odinga has been on the front line saying, that inawezekana. And Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka as well is also coming with another talk of what we have to respect the pact we had initially. It's going to resuscitate the gains and the losses they made in the past.
I think Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, he's just trying to raise his profile because he can't just come. Like, you know, Raila Odinga, we have worked before, and again, you are going for presidency. Now let me just come and support you for a third time. No, he has to play hard to get. And that is what Kalonzo is doing. But deep inside his heart, he knows that Raila is going for the presidency, and the best that Kalonzo can do is just to come and talk with Raila through that structured kind of agreement. So he cannot just come. What he's doing is playing hard to get, so that they also see him as someone who is also principled, so that they don't just take him for granted, like, you come, you've been supporting us, now join us, let us do this, let us do this. So he also has to come with demands, which is really, really normal in politics. But deep inside, he knows what is there.
I'm quite interested to see what would happen after the pact. Give me a picture on how the new formation would look like, because the president will attend and will witness the signing. Gideon Moi will also be there, the KANU chairman. Paint for me a picture on how that coalition would look like.
It will be a grand coalition. Actually, call it a grand coalition.
Okay.
A grand coalition that will have, it's like a three-legged stool. Okay, so you can see the top of it is the grand coalition that is being supported by three strong, you know, call them arms or legs, for instance. Where on one side you have Azimio, on the other side you have the president's team, which is Jubilee, and then you have the OCA principals and the OCA team. So you can see the three legs form, you know, the grand coalition. That's what it will be. And it is not the first time we've seen grand coalitions in this country.
Exactly.
It is not the first time.
In 2002 we had the NAC coalition.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it is
so
not
this
the
is
first
like a
time.
replica of what happened in 2002.
You could say
Absolutely.
that. Yeah, you could say that. And let me just say something, because my sister has a narrative here that I have to comment on.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, Kalonzo Musyoka is not just raising his profile. That is a misconception, because Kalonzo Musyoka himself has a high profile. He's an international leader. For all intents and purposes, and whatever you want to say about him, he's an international leader.
Yes.
Once the handshake happened, he is the leader who the president sent to bring peace to the region. And he has had very many successes when it comes to peace building in the region. Kalonzo Musyoka still remains and will always be the undisputed leader in Ukambani, regardless of what you hear our governors say. In fact, what our governors say, it is the media that, you know, latches on. When you go back down home, nobody is latching on to what the governors are saying. They're not, because first, our governors in Machakos, especially the two who are outgoing, we have a lot of audit queries. They have a lot of audit queries, and our people are alive to the fact that they are not the ones who are going to tell us which direction we are going to go. And for Honorable Charity Ngilu, Governor of Kitui, she is a political survivor. She knows how to play her game. Her ground is not easy right now, and she has to align herself in a way that she can survive in the next politics. And she's always done that.
I didn't really discredit Kalonzo's profile.
No, it's okay.
Let me it as far as August is concerned. Because, you know, politics is a game of comparative. Yeah, it's a comparative game. I was just trying to do a comparison between Azimio, Kenya Kwanza, and the OCA. So that is why I narrowed it to two political factions. So I was just saying Kalonzo is trying to raise profile as far as August 2022 polls is concerned. I'm not in any way discrediting his profile. I know he's a
I appreciate that.
That is someone I respect. Actually, the last time I was here, I said Kalonzo and Raila Odinga have worked together before, and nothing can stop them from working again together because they understand one another. So I'm really happy that Wiper is actually warming up to the Azimio faction. So Sylvia, Kalonzo is someone
Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. How it will happen. Yeah.
You are making a point.
Yeah, I think I might have lost track of the point I was trying to make.
And I was asking you, accusing Honorable Charity Ngilu as a political survivor. This sound like an allegation, because the ground you're saying is shaky right now for her?
Yes. The gubernatorial ground is shaky. It's tough. This year is tough. You've had His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka saying that eventually, if she really wants to go back for that gubernatorial, she will have to go back and talk to him again, you know, so that he can rally the support for her. So that is really the thing that I'm talking about. It's a tough ground, and in politics, like what my sister is saying, you know, you have to stay relevant.
Yes.
And you have to be part and parcel of negotiations and where, you know, the power play is being arranged, so to speak.
And Fungilu, I don't really think she's a survivor per se. I just think she knows how to manage politics of transition.
Yes.
Yeah, whenever there's a transition taking place, she places herself strategically. So that is what Ngilu is good
That's
at.
what she's doing.
She understands
that's what you
politics.
do as politicians.
Yes,
that's
as politicians.
What you do, the game of possibility.
Yes.
You look for a space and you fix yourself inside there.
Yes,
All right.
I think that is what I call survival.
Yeah.
That is what I'm calling the survival tactic.
Yes.
And, you know, you will hear that Ngilu knows how to survive, like she's saying.
Yes.
You'll hear people like Mudavadi don't know how to manage politics of succession because they tend to make the wrong decision and they miss the boat, you know. And we've been saying he has missed the boat yet again as we go forward. But yes, I think that is just what I was trying to say.
You know, it's quite interesting because when you look at the issue of equal partners, what kind of equality will be there? Because Kalonzo Musyoka said that he's going for nothing but the presidency, and Honorable Raila Odinga is also going for nothing but the presidency. So what is the equality? Lavender?
Sylvia tried to talk about the equality, but I still maintain that when Kalonzo is coming, we are going to negotiate how the honorable member is actually going to work together with Raila, because Raila is going for nothing less than the presidency. So when he's coming, I think they'll only have to sit down and agree on that structured form of talks that we have mentioned here. So Sylvia said he's coming as an equal partner. I'm not disputing that, but now let us wait and see how it goes. But in the end, the gentleman that I know, that is Kalonzo, we'll actually just have to say, Raila, let me support you for the last time. We make it to State House. We see the role I can play in this arrangement. Then from there, I can pick it up from you. Because when we're looking at all these regions, we have 47 counties. What is his ratings per sub-county? When we live per county, sorry, I'm used to sub-county because of the county thing. So they'll have to sit down and do their calculation. What is your rating per county? We have 47. Outside now, the Ukambani voting block. So from there, I think they can work out something. But Kalonzo is someone who is coming with over 2 million votes in his basket. Actually, you can't compare him with these other people claiming that they have votes, yet they never campaign beyond their constituencies, and they want to go for presidency. So I think these are things that they'll sit down over the weekend and agree, because I believe they've been talking. I believe they've been talking, and I insist that Kalonzo and Raila Odinga are two gentlemen that come a long way. They have history together, so they'll not disagree. So I'm very optimistic that after this coming weekend, we are yet to see the direction that Kenya is going to take politically. And I'm very excited about it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa, you know, when you hear that the president will witness signing of that pact, this is a big deal to the coalition. And clearly it tells that the president's heart, where the president's heart is all about. And we can all say that 2022 politics is completely aligned to what the president is looking for, from that alone.
Yeah, you can say that. I think the president is on record in State House actually saying that he's happy to support Azimio because it aspires to his dream for this country. It aspires to where he would like to see the country go. It aspires to the fact that it will you know, uplift the country from where he lives it from, you know. He has spoken to that very clearly. He has said they will fight corruption, they will do this, and it's bringing Kenyans together. And the president has been really working hard towards, you know, bringing the country, you know, together. So he is on record as supporting the idea of a one Kenya, a united Kenya. And he's happy to witness the unification, the joining of, you know, more people into this oneness.
That's quite unlikely, because we rarely see the president attending such functions. We've had several NDCs, KANU, ANC, ODM. He's never attended any.
Yeah, and you see why. President has been working. He's not been politicking. He's been busy working. Now is when he said he's now getting ready to start the politics. So now this is the beginning. This marks for him. This and the Sagana 3 mark the beginning of the president now getting into politics. And that's what he has said. And that's what he has been saying, that first he has to work. And, you have to respect that because we know what has happened in his government. This mzozano in Jubilee has cost the country a lot of heartache, divisions, and all those other negative things that we are trying to run away from, the negative things that the handshake was trying to, to resolve in the first instance. So the president is just getting ready now to start politicking. And we are looking forward to seeing the impact that it will have, especially the Sagana 3.
Yeah.
We are all waiting to see, is Mount Kenya finally going to, calm down and settle and take direction, after his pronunciations in Sagana 3. We are all curious what it is that he is going to say, declare, tell the truth about, some of the divisions that he has had with his deputy. We are still keen to know what really happened in that sense.
I'll come to that, to Sagana 3 pretty well. And think about this question. Was Kalonzo Musyoka prevailed upon to shelve his ambition and join Azimio? You'll answer that probably because you sit on the other corner and you can have a hint. But Lavenda, you look at the gentlemen and the ladies who are behind Azimio as a team. This must be a big win for Raila Odinga.
Yes, it is. It is. It is a big win for Raila Odinga because looking back, Raila is someone who has really done so much for this country. He has won elections, but I don't want to go into that for now. But now we have the government on his side. I'm not saying it's a government project because he's been winning elections before. What we are trying to say is that this time round, we are not worried about voting and then our votes are nowhere to be seen at the end of the day. So it's going to be fair because the government actually is not going to deny him. I'm sorry to utter these words, maybe they don't sound really diplomatic, but that is the truth because I said before we have to be realistic. So we are just comfortable that this time around, Raila Odinga has worked hard, but we are not worried about what the government is going to do at the end of the day because now we have the state really saying this is the right person we think can take Kenya forward. But now the details, the president and his people will give us over the weekend. But again, looking at it, Uhuru himself is a product of a planned succession. Looking back in 2002, when he was nominated to parliament, made the minister for local government, and then after that, Moi said, this is the person that I really want to take after me. And we all know what happened. I will not go into details. Come 2013 again, the president, before 2013, in 2007, the Grand Coalition government, the president ensured he put Uhuru in a very strategic position, and that is deputy prime minister. And that is why Martha Karua felt like, I did so much for this government, why am I being bypassed? Why is Uhuru being given prominence? You remember the utterances of the late John Mishuki, that if you want to talk to Kikuyus politically, then you have to go through Uhuru Kenyatta. Na yule ambaye anacheza na Uhuru Kenyatta, tutatwanga yeye kisiasa. So Uhuru knows the benefit of a planned succession. So I just think it's right to also take part in whoever is going to succeed him in State House. And we have a few months left. He can no longer sit pretty in State House. He has now to come out and tell his people, this is where I'm comfortable with. So that is one of the things that I think is going to be discussed in Sagana. Like right now, this is what I want to be done. This is the direction I want my people to take politically. And I don't really see why politicians aligned to the deputy prime minister are feeling bad because Uhuru did not endorse his deputy. Because when you look at the pact within Jubilee, Ruto was a very powerful deputy president. It's like they were co-sharing power with Uhuru Kenyatta. So Uhuru is just right when he says this is somebody that we were sharing everything with in government. So why am I going to support him again for another 10 years? Yet I'm going to be out. For the 10 years they worked together, Ruto was a powerful president. So I don't think Uhuru owes Ruto anything politically. The person who is owed is Raila Odinga. And taking us back to history, in the 60s, when Jaramogi Oginga Odinga said, it is not yet Uhuru. We cannot have Uhuru when Jomo Kenyatta is in detention. So maybe this is the right time when the son of Jomo Kenyatta has decided to rudisha mkono. And as Kenyans, it's going to be a historical moment for us. We are excited, waiting for it. Uhuru Kenyatta has the right to support whoever he wants. And I don't really see any problem with that. Let us wait for the historical moment. Let us wait for the Sagana declaration tomorrow. We are very optimistic, as I have said before. But nothing stops Uhuru Kenyatta from supporting whoever he wants to succeed him. Ruto has served the country for 10 years.
I will ask Mheshimiwa here whether Kalonzo Musyoka, Honorable, is happy about that. And whether Raila Odinga is a project. He said that it can never be a project. He can never be a project. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to answer that question. Whether Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka was prevailed upon not to move anywhere but to join Azimio. We are going to answer that and much more after this break.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
Honourable members of Parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
You're here because you're jealous.
Stop it. That's enough. Goodness. She's gone. My daughter ran away. Sandy, let me help you.
I said I can do this. Are you deaf or what?
Wait, where are you
going?
Get
out of my way.
Tell me.
I said get out of my way. I'm telling you that I want you to make me the happiest man in the world. Will you marry me?
Lying heart fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición. The lyrics self on the big screen. She asks, do you love me? I say you're just right. Absolutely, I love you just the way you are, girl. You don't have to change.
It's time we let Jenny go.
She's not only dumping your brother, she's abandoning the whole family.
Look, this is an engagement ring my boyfriend bought for me. The initials of our English names are carved into it, J and J.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
And welcome back. Just to mention that we've added another member of the family who was caught in traffic. Daniel Orogo has just joined us in studio. Better late than never. Karibu sana to the show.
Thank you so much.
This is Nairobi. You have just to know how to maneuver.
Yeah, unavoidable circumstances sometimes.
Yes.
But it's good to be here this morning with my colleagues.
Karibu.
Yeah.
We've just been talking about the issue of, and I'll give you maybe a minute or two to, because we are moving to the next subject. We are talking about the issue of the deal that is coming up on Saturday. And the president will actually witness the signing of that pact between ODM, KANU, and Wiper. This is a big deal, and we've just discussed it at length. What's your take on that, briefly?
Well, I think it was, I was hearing the contribution, and to some extent I agree. And I've said time often a number in this panel. The President Uhuru Kenyatta is a Kenyan with an interest at heart and would want to see a safe, secure Kenya after his reign in office. And like I said before, he's an interested party on his legacy as well. And so whoever he chooses to give the baton or support towards post-2022 elections, you know, must be in his mind that must secure the country free from corruption and a country that is peaceful and secure. He's reiterated that so many times. And I've said to him and his political right as enshrined in the Constitution, he has a right to participate in political issues and probably ultimately, you know, support his succession.
Yes.
But what I take a departure on is that he has a vote like anybody else. And he cannot be purported to be seen that he is having a stronger hand in whoever, you know, he wants to be succeeded to him. These are decisions Kenya has to make, and Kenyan voters will go to the ballot and decide. So however much there is a lot of political horse trading in between, and deals that are being made politically, agreements that are being signed, and NDC that are being attended to, I think the ultimate choices lays with the people of Kenya.
Yes.
And that must not be meddled with during election. So I think that is my position, and I agree that for him, and just like a political leader, just like a leader of a political party that is revamping itself, that has been purportedly working and not politicking. So for him, is a matter of trying, you know.
Purported.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jubilee has been a party, and has been contributing in the National Assembly. We have active members who've been passing bills, and there has been a purge for those who are not toeing to the party ideals. That is right. The party has been active. It's not been like, you know, we've been working. Well, there's been delivery in terms of executive functions, but political functions within the flow of the assemblies has been active as well. So I think this is a point where, as a political leader, and I agree that he has the full authority to take charge of the party and probably spell good for the party as political seasons are here. And so therefore the deal that is being signed and him overseeing the deals, I think is right as a political leader. But as to where that will yield results, it is the decisions of Kenya to the ballot to go and make a choice during the voting.
Okay, well, fair enough. I owe you a slot. That's where I'm coming to. Was Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka prevailed upon to join Azimio?
Now, I am not sure where you're getting that information from.
It's a question I've asked.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is...
Because after the walkout from Bomas, he remained calm.
Yes.
We didn't see any movement.
Yes.
He was still adamant that he was going to the wire, but all of a sudden he made about turn, and now he's coming to Azimio.
There was no about turn, and there's never really been an about turn. The conversation since the walkout has been, we are going to strengthen OCA. And you have seen OCA going around the country, strengthening themselves and talking to other like-minded people to join them. And that is the conversation that has been, and it still is. Now, the conversations happening around the Azimio leadership, as well as the OCA principles, I say is about how do we get into a grand coalition, which is what I think will be signed on Friday, because those are the conversations that are ongoing. As to whether who will shelve their ambitions or who will support the other, that is for the top leaders now to tell us In their conversations, they are the ones who will come back and tell us, this is how we have agreed to move forward, and these are our terms of reference. So again, I say to Kenyans, let us be patient. There's no doubt, like I repeat, that which side we are leaning on in terms of working with. And that's why the conversations are happening with Azimio leadership and not with, say, Kenya Kwanza or, you know, or others. So that one is clear. And we wait for Friday for the leaders to tell us, then how have they agreed to move forward? Whose name then will be on the ballot? Whose name will be the deputy president? And then whose name or where will the others go? They are the ones who are going to tell us that. Yes. So all you can do is speculate. I know, you know, media, you really want to be the first ones to
I'm interested in getting
to break the news
from you, from the horse's mouth. And of course, we still need to understand that tomorrow the Sagana 3 is loading. The president will be in Sagana to meet the grassroots leaders there of Jubilee Party. Thereafter, pronouncements will be made, and on Saturday, the president is said to be, will be actually witnessing the signing of that pact between ODM, KANU, and Wiper Party. All of them will be forming that Azimio la Umoja movement. And how it's going to pan out will be interesting to see moving forward from Saturday. Okay, now let's talk about the issue of Sagana 3. And people call it the Red Army. And almost all the legislators from Mount Kenya have been instructed to go back to the ground. Daniel, starting with you, Sagana 3 loading.
Yeah. A lot of hullabaloo about Sagana 3.
Yes.
Of course, it's got a lot of significance in the political terrain right now. And again, like I opined then and put it on the start the other day, I said this very well, that Honorable Raila Odinga has been buoyed by President Uhuru Kenyatta coming in this campaign and giving him a political impetus, that for sure. And by the fact that a sitting president, an incumbent who, you know, his time is just about to expire, openly coming out to give you a lot of support, to declare that you are the better option and safe hands for Kenyans. That in itself is a big boost. That we give to them is something good for Azimio. It's probably something good for, you know, if One Kenya Alliance principles are all becoming on board. It is a machinery that would not be undisputed. And I'm telling you this, that as it goes, the support by President Uhuru Kenyatta, because I am seeing that one of the things he's expected to do in the meeting is to publicly now endorse the former premier in his bid for the presidential campaign, and more now openly say this is where the direction is. This is whipping the whole of central Kenya and members of parliament and people who are light, you know, his vision to see that he is supporting Raila as someone who could continue his legacy. Secondly, I think it also comes to a very interesting time that we haven't seen Jubilee Party having a parliamentary group meeting.
It's going to be the first one.
It's going to be a first one that is structured. Yes. And I use the term that is structured, not the ones that are called for a temporary meeting. Each and every political party is important. And one of the things in their constitution is a parliamentary group meeting is one of the organs within the political parties. Yes. Every constitution of a political party. And after 2017, I think Jubilee has not been successful in having a structured parliamentary group meetings. And I can see, as done by the start, they are going to have it for the first time, and it's here. So this is something key, and this is a political landmark that the support the Sagana 3 is going to come with is enormous. And I think as I conclude on Sagana 3, it's very important that it is the speculation that President Uhuru Kenyatta publicly is now going to begin to do what I call spilling the beans and trying to say what exactly made him not to endorse his second in command. Okay. So this is significant.
All right, Lavender, will the president move the mountain?
We hope so, but the truth is, as the president was busy working, I think his number 2 started campaigning a little bit earlier. That is why we see him really having support in central Kenya, though right now it has reduced. It has reduced enormously because Raila Odinga has gained ground in central Kenya. So we are yet to see now Uhuru coming out there and gaining, because we felt that he gave his number 2 a lot of space in central Kenya. So from tomorrow, actually, he's going to spill the beans, as my brother Rogo here says. He's actually going to tell Kenyans why he's not comfortable supporting William Ruto for the presidency. So he's actually going to give details of their working relationship since 2013. So from there, Kenyans are actually going to know what transpired between the two. So tomorrow is very historical. After tomorrow, we are now going to move forward. Uhuru is now free to move across the country to tell them why he is more comfortable with Raila Odinga compared to his deputy, whom he has worked with for all these years. And I think they have a working relationship dating back to 2002 when they were together in Kanu. So let us just wait and see. We cannot give much details because I'm not a member of Jubilee, but I think a lot is going to happen. That Uhuru is now actually going to tell them why he's not able to support William Ruto. Because there are some parliamentarians who are arguing from central Kenya that Uhuru Kenyatta did not sit them down to tell them why he's not comfortable with his number 2. So tomorrow, I think they're going to have a conversation as a people from central, then they chart a way forward. And I think a lot is going to change. Let us watch and see what is going to transpire.
If he manages to whip Mount Kenya, Honorable Sylvia, how will it work out between because the president cannot now pigeonhole his achievements to Mount Kenya alone. Right now, he's a national leader, and politics is now going to go full throttle as from tomorrow moving on, because from the billboards we've seen on social media, we promised, we've delivered. So it's now, we can say that the president has now completely done his work. So what we say ni wakati wa sasa wa siasa. How is it going to play out? Is he going to undo what the deputy has done over these years in Mount Kenya?
Well, I think that is the intention. The intention is now, like Lavender has said, is to come out and tell the people of Mount Kenya the truth between what transpired between him and his deputy. And also to explain that there is no debt owed. I think there's that narrative that has been peddled significantly in Mount Kenya. Secondly, also, there's a short time to undo what the deputy president has done. The deputy president has been campaigning in Mount Kenya now for what, 4 years? Yeah, so the remaining time is little. And we believe that there will be significant impact in undoing that narrative that has then been created by the deputy president. And that is why this Sagana is important, just as my colleagues here have said. And we are looking forward to hearing it ourselves. Even us, we are curious. And because, the pronunciations there will also give us something to hang on to when we are campaigning as well, because there's a lot of clarity that will come out in what transpired between the two leaders during their tenure. And it is of great significance because it will change the narrative, it will change the game plan. And let's not forget, Mount Kenya is the biggest vote basket. And that's why everyone always, wanapigia kona huko. Wanapigia kona hapo, because if I can get a little out of this, it adds significantly to the overall basket. So it is in the president's interest that they consolidate the Mount Kenya vote. And it is of his interest that he gets them to follow the direction that he's giving as their leader. And I believe, from precedents, that Mount Kenya listens to their leader. They do listen. And I am hopeful that this time round they will be whipped.
Properly.
They'll be whipped
properly because,
into the direction that their leader wants. And I believe it is the right direction. So we look forward to it. As my colleagues here have said, we are all looking forward to the pronunciations of Sagana 3. Yes.
Daniel, perhaps somebody could argue that this is the time that Mount Kenya has been waiting for. Because all along the narrative has been there that Mount Kenya does not have a clear candidate, a clear leader. There's that narrative which was given out that president is now going, so there is no strong kingpin in Mount Kenya. But then now the president coming home and saying, you know what, Jubilee is not dead, Jubilee was alive, we are still working, and we are here, and I'm still the leader.
You as well saw what happened over the weekend. the return of Moses Kuria and the declarations that were made at Thika Stadium. And you could have seen, and from a political angle, you could have seen very, very important key political figures from Mount Kenya. Mwangi Kiunjuri, Martha Karua, and Moses Kuria, who I think have also another coalition. You know, there's another coalition that they belong to.
Yes.
They unilaterally said that we are negotiating for the interest of Mount Kenya. And that we, for now, do not either lie on every other political side.
Yes.
And for me, I see this as a tool that is also bargaining for the interest of Mount Kenya. In that it has not come so well to say that we are affiliating ourselves to either of these coalition. But right now, what that kind of coalition is doing is bringing out issues. And connotationally speaking, you heard Moses Kuria saying that, I mean, we have provided a backup. Why would they not give us, you know, quote unquote, a vice president or a deputy president or a running mate?
Yes.
Because that is, according to Kuria, that is the beginning of a conversation. That any conversation that would want to take interest of Mount Kenya must begin from a point of a deputy, not any other. And it also must begin from a point of allowing many political parties not to be clamped, you know, to these kind of one political parties. I think, as I go to what you've asked, Mount Kenya has learned that by collapsing parties in 2017 and forming a party under 12 parties that are collapsed together,
yes,
did them so many harm. And that, one, it killed internal democracy within Mount Kenya to question from different political parties, because you were told you're in Jubilee,
yes,
and you either toe in the line, ship in or ship out, because you're in Jubilee party. And other parties survived. NAK Kenya didn't join that bandwagon, because Martha said she voted Uhuru Kenyatta and remained with NAK Kenya. Okay?
Yes.
And the rest who abandoned their parties were in Jubilee parties. Come, stay, and there is nowhere to go. So I think this is the direction also that President Uhuru Kenyatta has been whipping, you know, Central Kenya to. That please look at where your interests are better safeguarded. Proudly speaking, I don't think that the relationship is so much into, you know, a love dalliance between the two. But it is a serious convergence of interest, political interest.
Yes.
It is safeguarding of the interest of the whole community. And I had my colleague saying before I joined the set, you know, all these handshakes and, you know, writing of these deals, there is no centrality of a Kenyan voter.
How now?
The interests are individual. Because, like I've told you, if you could have traced this, the history of the battle between what is called the two communities and the battle between the two families, and I don't want to go so much into details, is about safeguarding of the interests of the people. And you could have seen that is the narrative that came in, that we do not want to vote dynasties. Okay? That is where the narrative was crafted by one political faction.
Yes.
As we speak, and I keep on repeating here, even as much as we are going to vote leaders, Victor, I want to be very consistent on this panel. Please look at the agendas. Read through the narratives. Read through the economic models. Read through the manifestos very well and understand. Because that is where now you, as a Kenyan voter, you will have a very difficult decision.
But of course, we all know Kenyans.
So reality speaking, ideally speaking, so for me, I think it's just as this meeting is going to proceed. Again, I repeat, nobody should throw tantrums to the president to the extreme.
Okay.
Because he is a political player as well.
All right. Lavender, what impact will this have on Raila Odinga and Honorable William Ruto in terms of their vote hunt in Mount Kenya?
The Sagana 3 tomorrow.
Yes.
I think it will have a huge impact depending on how everything is presented by the president and his people. There has also been this narrative that since independence, Kenya has only been ruled by people from two tribes, that is the Kikuyu and the Kalenjins. And that is why other Kenyans are saying, we are also here. We also need to see people from other communities leading this country.
Yeah.
So I think from tomorrow, it's going to be huge. And I mentioned here earlier that Raila has been winning the presidency, but there has been a missing link. That is the state. And I avoided saying Raila is a state project. I mentioned what has been missing is the state, the link, that you campaign, you get the votes from the people because he's always had manifestos selling his agenda to the people.
Yeah.
But the missing link has been the state. We all know what has been happening from 2007. So I just want to assure my brother Orogo here that some of this...
the state is so that we understand.
The state and the government, you know, it is one, you know. The state is what is ruling the country.
Yes.
Yes. So I do not really want to go into explanations, but we all know what the state is. So I only mentioned that what has been missing is now there. They will not interfere. They will let the winner be declared. Yes, that has been my position. And let us avoid terming someone who has been campaigning, who has been winning a state project. Yes. So my brother Orogo, we are just hoping that tomorrow we are going to see a very historic moment when Mount Kenya is actually coming together to support someone outside their community.
Yeah.
You know, it's unheard of. People believed that our brothers and sisters from Central can never vote any other person who is not one of their own. But tomorrow, we are here to see something different, something special going to happen.
You know,
yes.
Mheshimiwa Kasanga, you've been so quiet, but let me ask you this. Will the Mount Kenya region accept the fact that this time around, we are going to give it to another community and we're not going to enjoy it fully, quote unquote, as they're used to? Are they okay with that condition? Has it sunk in them?
Well, I can't speak for them, I'm not sure. And I am hoping that part of the conversations of Sagana 3 will be for the president to prepare them for the fact that maybe they don't have a presidential contender and they will have to support somebody from another community.
Yeah.
And you know, the good thing is that the president, he has spoken about it. He's on record as well, saying that it is time to, you know, try other communities. And that is why we are all very happy, you know, to see what it is that he's planning for Kenyans way ahead. So I hope Mount Kenya will understand where the president is going with this. Yeah. And in the end...
It goes to Eastern.
Yeah, and in the end, you know, the question of in whose hands is Mount Kenya going to be safe? In the end, that is the question. Mount Kenya has been in government now for quite some time. Of course, they have the interest that they are going to be catered for by the next government, that they'll be given a soft landing. And frankly speaking, after, you know, seeing how, you know, elections in other countries have been, if you take, for example, the politics of Ethiopia, where the incoming government does not give a soft landing to the government that has been before and has been there longer, and that they, you know, they are strong in terms of numbers politically, then it can bring, you know, certain unpleasant scenarios. So there is the interest that Mount Kenya will be given a soft landing, and I can assure you that part of probably the grand coalition that will be formed will be also to ensure that the interests of Mount Kenya are, you know, sort of accommodated in the coalition that will come out of it, regardless of who the leaders are going to be, regardless of who the president and the deputy president will be. They want to be assured that their interests will be covered, and that's how now the basket of votes will be consolidated, you know, once again. And just to comment on something, my extremely vibrant panelist colleague here, very vibrant. Now, you know, this I don't want to call it a narrative, but it is a narrative that our leaders are selfish and they're only thinking about themselves, and in the end, the people will decide. You know, the fact remains that leaders have to arrange themselves to present themselves to the people for the people to choose. So we will arrange ourselves based on our like-mindedness and the things that we share, like we have said. And in the end, there will be a name or two names in the ballot for Kenyans to choose. And of course, in the end, it is the Kenyans who choose. But leaders have a duty to arrange themselves and present themselves to the people. And the fact remains, we all want to run government. In the end, politics is about running the resources of this country.
Right.
I have an interest. My people have to be represented in the running and in the sharing of the resources of this country. We don't need to sugarcoat that, because when I front myself as a leader, it is because I hold the interests of the people who have chosen me, or who have put me in the position that I am in. So it is in order for leaders to scramble and make sure that I get something, and I'm getting that something not for myself, but for the people who have put me in the position to fight for them. So we need to remove this narrative that we are having selfish leaders. Who has determined the selfishness of our leaders? And especially when I come, or when the people of the leaders of Ukambani have been very clear about things like fighting corruption. Because we have seen what others in government have done.
Yes.
And we are saying this time around, you cannot come and say you want to go back to that government when you yourself, your record shows that you went there for your own personal benefits. This time around, we want to go there so that we show Kenyans we are going to actually channel their money to their own needs and their own, the agenda that we have set for them.
Most leaders do not follow chapter 6.
No, that's why I'm saying let us not quote like we are all the same in terms of leaders. Let's not be put in that basket. That basket cannot work. Yes, we are chasing this because we know we are going to do the right thing for Kenyans. Let me speak first, my good friend. You had your chance, and I did not even interject. I sat very quietly. I sat very quietly, and it is because we need the correct narrative to go to Kenyans. They are leaders. We are putting ourselves out there, and sometimes we have to do it aggressively because politics is as such. You have to fight for that space, and when we put ourselves out there aggressively, we are saying, give us also the chance. We are putting ourselves out there. We are removing our vulnerabilities and telling Kenyans, even I want to show you what I'm going to do for you. And don't trust this one. He may be louder than I am, but don't trust him because he's been there. Chapter 6, he has not, canvassed chapter 6 well. He didn't lead well. He stole your money. He still has a record that is answerable. So why don't you give a chance to those who have clean records? So don't put us all in a basket like we are all selfish leaders.
Yes.
Actually, a lot of our leaders in Ukambani, even start with His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, very selfless, clean records. And we are telling Kenyans, we are here to show you how we can run this government without corruption. Corruption free.
Yes. I think the best term that we can use instead of saying our leaders are selfish, what we need is to condemn is politics of exclusion, where one is elected president and deputy, and we find that only members of his community are in government, like we have witnessed before. So what we need to condemn, my brother Orogo, is politics of exclusion. We don't really have to put everyone in one basket and say our leaders are selfish. That is wrong. Let us condemn politics of exclusion. That is what has been ailing this country. And we urge the person who is going to be elected president of this country this year to ensure that every Kenyan feel that they belong to the government of Kenya. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ideally speaking,
Daniel, I only have 3 minutes,
yes,
but
ideally
you've been attacked
speaking,
from both ends.
Ideally speaking, if we were to go that direction, we could have leadership that would have delivered in this country. I agree that the panel is ably represented today by people from different political parties and affiliations. And I agree with Senator Kasanga that, if we would have a conversation about politics that is corruption-free and that is, has an agenda, an issue-based agenda, then we would have. And, sometimes I do not really want to get banned, but sometimes I look at this. All these political leaders and political aspirants, if you look at them and provide with an opportunity to serve Kenyans, they had failed Kenyans before. All these ones, including Kalonzo's and Raila's and everybody.
How has Kalonzo failed?
When an opportunity arises for somebody to be nominated at Yala, he nominated his son.
Maybe he's able.
There are other Kenyans who were there and who had equally qualified, but he saw that it was important to nominate his son. Equally to Raila Odinga nominated the brother.
I take exception to that.
On this set, sometimes that's why I'm telling you it is important to say the truth, not to hide things under the carpet. When we are coming here to speak about, politics that is free of exclusion, we would want that as an ideal. But we are acknowledging that below the carpet, people are not respecting the ideals of politics and what is required in Chapter 6 of the Constitution. So I'm obliged to say that because they brought it up. That this is what we want from the leadership. We saw this as good leadership. We saw this as people. But why would your interest and Kenyan interest and people who serve in those positions not be guaranteed when you have an opportunity to serve?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm told that we're running out of time, but Mheshimiwa Kasanga, starting with you, you're running for a position?
Well, when the time comes, I shall declare that. And why must everyone run for opposition? This question keeps coming up. You know, there are many ways to serve Kenyans.
Yes.
And I am privy to the fact that there are many ways to serve Kenyans. It must not always be because I have been nominated in parliament, then my next progression automatically should be to ask, you know, Kenyans to vote for me. There are many ways to serve Kenyans. Yes, we have many ways. We have mental health issues, which I have been an advocate of mental health, you know that. And there's a lot of leadership that is required in our country today when it comes to things that really matter to Kenyans. For instance, like mental health, which not enough people are speaking to. So maybe a national platform is where I need to be so that we can champion for mental health with the seriousness that it actually deserves, something which our concurrent governments have failed to address. So on the question, I say we wait and see first how our leadership is arranging itself.
And Honorable Lavender here is running for that seat in Homa Bay County.
Yeah, Homa Bay County woman rep. I was actually down there when you called me. I had to run and come for this interview.
Yeah, when you talk to you, you're so busy. You're not even talking on the phone.
I have been talking like the whole week. That is why you see me struggling. My voice is a problem, actually. So we really have to go out there and fight for these positions, because when we fail to do so, then there's going to be a generational gap. So I'm here, and I think it's ours to lose. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sylvia Kasanga, who is nominated senator on Wiper Party, Daniel Orogo, who is a columnist and a political analyst, as well as Lavender Ujala, who is running for the woman representative seat in Homa Bay County. Thank you so much for coming to the show and for your valid contribution to this show. That's where we put a cap on it. But don't go away, because we are going to talk about universal health care, something that Honorable Kasanga is also passionate about. And you know what? Jen is going to treat that health matter up next.
niwe kule karibu ili babu Tunde akinihitaji mimi niwe wa msaada kwake.
Nimekataa, hakuna kwenda kijijini.
Wewe Tunde akuhusu nini wewe? Tunde mbabangu mimi.
Kwa hivyo pia unaona nilifanya makosa.
Hana haja na sisi.
Absolutely, I love you just the way you are, girl. You don't have to change.
To look at how Upper Hill as well as Lower Hill is looking like. This is actually what has been our focus today, and I just told you why we had been keenly trying to look at how this section is looking like, simply because this is a project that began sometime in 2017, stalled a bit in 2020, obviously due to COVID-19, and that is because they couldn't quite be able to get some of these materials that were needed for at least some completion of the entire project. As much of what we know right now is that the entire expansion that was happening on this particular stretch is already complete. Part of the remaining works included an unmotorized transport system, which is inclusive of pedestrian walkways as well as cyclist lanes. So what it really informed the entire reconstruction process of Upper Hill as well as Lower Link is simply because it is one of those very key as well as instrumental roads, especially when it comes to it being a commercial hub as well as commercial centers. A lot of companies are around this area, just like how it is around Westlands, part of also what informed the entire reconstruction of what we're seeing around Westlands. So clearly what happened in this area before it actually became a commercial hub is because a lot of businesses as well as companies were situated around the city center, and when that area became when actually a lot of that was in the city center, it just became fit, or deemed fit for most companies to look for areas to relocate. And that is why Westlands as well as Upper Hill became one of those areas for ease relocation of most of these companies and businesses. So this is part of what informed the entire construction process of what we saw on this particular stretch. So what you're looking at today is how all of this project has just affected traffic flow altogether. If you can remember, earlier on there was barely any kind of heavy traffic on the section of Upper Hill, but right now things have changed altogether. This is how the area is looking like this morning. A bit of a traffic, especially as you leave areas of Haile Selassie coming all the way through sections of Upper Hill, but still, if you're coming to these areas right now, could still be a good time for you, because much as there's traffic, it is a manageable kind of traffic altogether as you head over to that area. And altogether still around the areas of Lower Hill, no traffic at all, moving at a very, very swift pace. Nothing is changing around that section, still the same as how it was, moving at a very swift pace on both sections. Again, just as I mentioned, just in some specific areas here and there, particularly as you branch off to one of those slip roads, that is Mara Road, as you join to areas of Kenyatta, around that section is where it begins to slightly build up, but altogether still a manageable kind of traffic. That is how it is looking like this morning on areas around Upper Hill as well as Lower Hill.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us this far. We now move on to the next segment, and this is our health segment, as we always do it every Tuesday. And we welcome you to be part of this conversation. Talk to us. Let us know where you're watching us from. Send in your questions or comments, or even if you're just seeking clarification, you are absolutely welcome to do so. Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle ever remains to be at KBC Channel 1. My handle is at Jane Momboy. So today we're going to be talking about the universal health cover. This is a project that the government of Kenya has been on since 2013, when it was first initiated with the Linda Mama initiative. And today we are seeing, just last week actually, on the 7th of February, we did see the president roll out the national or rather launch the national rollout of the universal health cover. But what really does it entail? What can you and I, as a Kenyan citizen, expect from the UHC? To help us with this conversation today, we have two gentlemen. To my extreme right, we have Dr. Andrew Mulwa, who is the Director of Medical Services in charge of preventive and promotive health under the Ministry of Health. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning and thank you very much.
All right, and next to him, we have Gilbert Osoro, who is the manager in charge of Universal Health Scheme under NHIF. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning and thank you.
Thank you for being with us today, gentlemen. So again, welcome. We welcome your questions in regards to UHC, NHIF, in line with this conversation. So let me start with you, Gilbert. You know, we've had you before, but in line, whenever we talk about UHC, NHIF is right at the center of this conversation. So let us take a step back and understand the mandate of NHIF.
Thank you, Jane, and welcome viewers back at home. As you are aware, NHIF is a state parastatal, and it was established back in 1966. If you allow me, they say that the farther you look into the past, the farther you see into the future. I want to take Kenyans through a throwback so that they know the UHC journey. Even as we talk about UHC,
yes,
we've come of age. In 1965, the then government tabled the secession of paper number 10 that proposed the establishment of universal health coverage in this country. In 1966, the then Legislative Assembly passed Cap 255 laws of Kenya that established NHIF as we know it. From 1966, then when it was passed, the key mandate of NHIF was to pay for healthcare expenses incurred by people then in the formal sector. And the eligibility criterion then, that anybody that was employed and earning more than 10 shillings, more than 1,000 shillings, was to contribute 10 shillings as premiums towards NHIF.
Yes.
And the only benefit package then that was accessible to the members was inpatient treatment. In 1972, there was a major amendment to the Act, whereby the Act was revised to provide for membership to the members in the informal sector. And when I say informal sector, I'm talking about Juakali artisans, farmers, people who are self-employed. They also had access, whereby they were paying 20 shillings to be members of NHIF. Now, in 1998, the NHIF Cap 255 was repealed then by the then Minister of Health through Parliament, Honorable Mwai Kibaki, and in its place, we had the NHIF Act number 9 of 1998 that established NHIF as a state parastatal. And the key mandate then was that it was to provide healthcare insurance cover to both Kenyans in the formal and informal sector. And remember, from 1966, the only benefit package that was available to Kenyans was inpatient treatment. Sometimes when I meet people, they tell me that NHIF ilikuwa inalipia kitanda tu. Now, in 2012, the government then decided to procure a comprehensive medical cover for civil servants and members of the disciplined forces. That marked the beginning of NHIF administering what we call enhanced schemes that provided for comprehensive cover for the cohorts of civil servants and members of the disciplined forces. The other key amendment that happened to NHIF was in 2015, whereby there was revision of the rates for a very long time. From 1998 up to 2015, the rates were fixated. Basically, members in formal employment were remitting 320 shillings, and members in self-employed were remitting 160 shillings. So that particular act was repealed, and in place, the rates were revised and capped at 3% of the gross salary and capped at 1,700 shillings. But I want to tell Kenyans that there were major changes then, because the increased premiums facilitated increase in the scope of cover, whereby in 2015, there was the rollout of new benefit packages. And it also was a turning point whereby the government had rolled out some new flagship programs. We are talking of health insurance subsidy schemes, that is orphans and vulnerable children, Linda Mama, older persons, and others. As I indicated, there was a new benefit package. We rolled out the outpatient benefit package for members of the informal sector. It also witnessed the introduction of rehabilitation for drug and substance abuse for people who are ailing from mental illness, and the mother and child, what is popularly known as the maternity benefit package. Yeah. Now, in 2018, as I conclude on the UHC journey, the then minister appointed the Health Finance Report Expert Panel, popularly known as HEFREP, to engage the public to see the changes that could be made to the NHIF to align it with the universal health coverage, and they came up with a report which was known as the NHIF We Want, that recommended 55 changes to NHIF. Now, in 2020, there was the UHC scale-up that was driven by NHIF. Remember, from 2018, we had the UHC pilot that was carried out in the 4 counties. Yeah, I want to rest it there before we embark on where the rubber meets the road. That is UHC.
Beautiful. That is a very beautiful breakdown of the journey so far. Now, let me come to you, Dr. Andrew. You know, given you are the director in charge of medical service when it comes to preventive and promotive health under the ministry, tell us a bit about what your department covers before we come to the conversation around UHC.
Thank you very much. I think to begin with, one, we all recognize that the functions of health in the Republic of Kenya are shared between the two levels of government, where the Ministry of Health essentially does policy, national referral, capacity building of counties, and emergency response. Then the county government are tasked with the operational implementation of national government policies and running of county hospitals and health facilities, including primary health care. At the Ministry of Health, Directorate of Medical Services, Preventive and Promotive Health, first is charged with the responsibility of one, running the various programs, including the NCDs, cancer, tobacco control, accidents and injuries, and also tasked with running the strategic public health programs, which are the HIV, TB, malaria, vaccination programs. Then we also charged with family health, where we have reproductive health, nutrition, we have adolescent and young people's health, we have child health, and we also have the primary health care, which is now where preventive and promotive health, where health promotion, primary health, community health services, and family health are domiciled. So in other words, because at the national level, we do one, preventive and promotive health policies, capacity build the counties in these policies, and enable the counties, and that is where we work very, very closely with the counties in terms of implementation of UHC, because the model that Kenya has adopted for implementation of UHC will rely on primary health care. And primary health care will mean establishment of what we call primary health care networks that will involve the community level, which is level 1 health facilities, level 2 and level 3 facilities working as spokes for a hub, which is now level 4 hospital. So we are re-engineering the structure of delivery of health in this country in order to achieve UHC.
Now, UHC is a term that, you know, almost every citizen can associate with the Jubilee administration being part of the Big Four agenda. But in very simple terms, when you talk about UHC, what exactly are we, and what are we talking about? What does it entail?
Let me start by saying first, there are a lot of misunderstandings about UHC and what it means. Does it mean universal health coverage? Does it mean universal health care? Universal health care is not universal health coverage. UHC is universal health coverage. What in simple means, it means citizens or populations are able to access health services in the right quality, in the right quantity, in the right place, when they need it, without incurring hardship, financial hardship while accessing it.
Quality, quantity, access, and financial ease.
Yes, and population. So I've started with population is able to access health services in the right quantity and quality when they need it, so timely, and without incurring financial hardship. What essentially that means is UHC is not free healthcare.
Yes.
Because someone must meet the costs, and UHC is not any healthcare. UHC is health that is timely, that I want a surgery. I want it now and not next year. I want a service, a CT scan, an MRI. I want it now and not next week. So must
because
be timely.
It's not available.
Yes.
Okay.
So must be timely and must be in the right quality, so that it is not just any health that you access. The quality must be highest attainable standards of health or quality of health as enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya, Article 43. Then the population, you ask yourself, who are the people who are able to access these services? When you talk about Linda Mama, for example, is a UHC program targeting expectant women and postpartum, immediate postpartum period, where expectant women going through pregnancy and immediately after delivery are able to access health services in health facilities of good quality without incurring financial expense. So UHC means three facets: a population, a range of services that are available, and cost protection.
Now, what is the goal of UHC? Looking at all those factors that you have mentioned right there, the population, the financial burden that is involved in this particular case when it comes to delivery of health services.
UHC is meant to, and studies have shown that in this country, a huge population is impoverished by access to health. Today, you may be doing well, very senior officers, very senior people in the society, and especially the vulnerable. You may be doing well, but when you fall sick, you are admitted in an hospital, you require an emergency surgery that requires hundreds of thousands or 100,000 or even 30,000 shillings, and you can't afford it, then the family first is affected because they have to sell their cow, they have to sell their land, they have to disrupt their household income. So that after your illness, you go back to a poorer family than when you fell sick. That's the bottom line. So UHC is to ensure that whenever I fall sick, I am able to access services without getting poorer than I was before I got sick. So, and many families, I think our study done in 2018 was showing close to about 22% of families that get impoverished are actually as a result of health costs.
That's actually a fact. So many families are one medical bill away from poverty.
That is exactly what UHC is trying to address, so that we have our Kenyan population, and that is the vision of the president, that the Kenyan population is able to access health services without having to worry about the cost. So the best way to achieve UHC, if I am a multi-billionaire, I do not need insurance, because whatever expense that I have for health, I can be able to afford it. So if I have 1 trillion shillings in my account and I fall sick and the bill is 200 million and I'm able to afford it, I probably do not need health insurance. But how many Kenyans are able to see that? So the principle of now pooling resources comes in, where everyone is required to pool resources. As a country, we put resources in one basket, so that from this basket, all of us are able to access health from that basket without impoverishing our pockets.
All right. Now that brings in all the other stakeholders that have a role to play when it comes to the delivery of UHC as a whole. The national government, the county governments, the private sector also has a role to play in this. But in this particular case, the government chose to partner up with NHIF to be the primary channel for delivering UHC. Before I come to you, Gilbert, from where you sit, under the ministry, why is this important for Kenyans to understand that NHIF is vital to this delivery process?
NHIF, one, is a government agency and a strategic purchaser of health, where you buy your health, put in one basket called the National Health Insurance Fund now. Previously used to be Hospital Insurance Fund. Now put the resources in that basket. Then from that basket, we can all access. It is a strategic government organ that can pool resources. And that is the principle that NHIF from 1966 that he has ably narrated to us, the journey. NHIF has been a strategic purchaser of health. So naturally, this would be the best institution for pooling resources in the government circles. So what NHIF is doing is we are using NHIF to pool resources. Remember, they are private
companies that
Yes,
are and private persons that are also paying NHIF.
Yes.
There are public organizations that are also paying NHIF. There are civil society organizations that are also paying NHIF for people. There are international development agencies that are paying NHIF. So, in other words, what NHIF is doing is the official basket, for lack of a better word, is the government basket where all the resources are being pulled so that the service providers, now whether private, public or faith-based, are now able to get resources from that basket and provide health services, and the citizen is able to enjoy the services being covered by the National Health Insurance Fund.
All right. Also, Gilbert, just looking at the same aspect, we've heard from the minister, but also looking at NHIF in line with the delivery or just ensuring that every Kenyan has access to the UHC. Why is this partnership very vital for Kenyans to understand, first of all, before we even move on to what is entailed?
Thank you, Jen, and thank you, viewers back at home. I want to echo the words of what Dr. Mulu has said. Remember that NHIF's mission is to contribute towards attainment of universal health coverage in provision of affordable, accessible, sustainable and quality healthcare insurance through strategic resource pooling and strategic purchasing of healthcare services in collaboration with our stakeholders. And as indicated by Dr. Mulwa, NHIF comes with a rich history when it comes to provision of health insurance coverage in this country. And NHIF is the largest provider of health insurance services in Kenya. And based on that, being a state agency, remember, the agenda of UHC is not only a national government's agenda, it's an international agenda. The United Nations passed a resolution on sustainable development goals, in particular SDG resolution number 3.8, that spelled that all countries in the world should aspire to have universal health coverage by the year 2030. And towards that end, the government, as part of its mandate in the global family, has domiciled UHC in our country. And His Excellency, the President, during his second term, promised Kenyans 100% attainment of UHC before the year 2022. And that's where we find ourselves. Now, for me, I want to tell Kenyans that health is wealth. It is a civic duty for all Kenyans to have healthcare coverage, because no one knows when illness will strike. But when illness strikes, what do you do? Because as Mulwa said, millions of Kenyans fall into financial hardships because they're impoverished because of trying to meet the cost of medical bills. As I speak today, I'm in about 10 WhatsApp group where we are raising funds for people who are either detained in hospital or are waiting for funds to be able to cater for their medical bills. But the good news is that with NHIF as your trusted partner, we can be able to assist you in meeting your medical bills. And towards that, NHIF and the UHC benefit package provides for 10 benefit packages that Kenyans are entitled to.
Now, we'll be coming to those benefit packages in just a bit to just even help our viewers understand what is really entailed when it comes to the coverage of UHC. Now, I ask this, why NHIF? Due to, of course, we have seen people uproar on social media, concerns around the reputational challenges that we have all seen NHIF experiencing, and questioning the capacity to deliver UHC.
Very important, and we take note of the issues that Kenyans have raised.
Yes.
But I want to tell Kenyans that NHIF is the largest insurance firm, and when I say so, we have 156 points of service which are spread across the 47 counties. We have 70 branch offices, full-fledged branch offices in all the 47 counties. We have 53 what I call satellite offices that are also found in the sub-counties. And we also have 53 points of service at Huduma Center. Apart from that, we have connectivity across all service points, all the 156 service points that are spread across the country. So even if you're in Kitui, you can be able to access the benefit packages that are administered by NHIF across the country. The other thing, we come with a legacy. Remember, from 1966, around about 58 years, we have been in this business of healthcare insurance and serving wananchi irrespective of their status. The other bit, we have a highly qualified personnel. We have employed medics, clinical officers, and others who undertake due diligence, pre-authorization, and others. We have the largest network of healthcare providers, and when I speak the largest network, we are looking in excess of 7,666 healthcare providers that are empaneled and contracted by NHIF. And these contractors span across board. We have the government facilities, which constitute 75% of the healthcare providers that are empaneled with NHIF. We are looking at a figure of 5,800 HCPs. We have faith-based institutions, and finally, private healthcare providers. Thirdly, we have been increasing our scope of cover, and I want Kenyans to look at the journey that NHIF has gone. I mentioned earlier on, from 1966 to round about 2012, we had only one benefit package, which is the inpatient treatment. But from 2015, the benefit package has grown in leaps and bounds to today, where we have 10 benefit packages, including specialized surgeries, overseas treatment, renal dialysis, and many others that we do administer.
All right. Now, we'll be coming to actually pick up on that particular point, looking at those packages. Again, we welcome you to be part of this conversation. This is all about UHC, understanding it, questioning it, and consequently embracing it as a Kenyan, as it is a right to receive medical services at any point in this country. So we're going to take a very quick breather. We will be back to continue with this discussion. Do stay with us.
The government of Kenya adopted universal health coverage, UHC, as one of the big four priority agenda, with an aspiration that by 2022, all citizens will have access to quality healthcare services that they need without getting into financial hardships. Don't suffer in silence. Visit the nearest healthcare facility and access affordable healthcare services that are now offered under the universal health coverage benefit package delivered through NHIF. For those who can afford, please remember to pay the monthly contribution of 500 shillings. The government has put mechanisms for assisting those who cannot afford to pay. Register biometrically at the nearest NHIF office. Your family's health matters to us. NHIF. Leave no one behind.
It's time we let Jenny go.
She's not only dumping your brother, she's abandoning the whole family.
Look, this is an engagement ring my boyfriend bought for me. The initials of our English names are carved into it, J and J.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice of the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as one opinion say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Glad you are still keeping us company here on Good Morning Kenya. Remember, this is our health conversation for the day, all about UHC. Get to understand it and know what really it means for you as a Kenyan. And with us today to help with this conversation, we have Gilbert Osoro, who is the manager in charge of the Universal Health Scheme at NHIF. And we also have Dr. Andrew Mulwa, who is the director of medical services in charge of preventive and promotive health, taking his notes over there. Now, let's get back under the Ministry of Health for that matter. Now, let's get back to this conversation. Before we get to further in, let's understand those NHIF packages that you've just mentioned very briefly before we now move on to the amendments.
Thank you, Jane.
Yes.
NHIF administers 10 benefit packages that are unparalleled. I want to use that unparalleled because if you look at the contribution vis-a-vis the benefit package, it's a whole world, because we do have the first benefit package, which is the outpatient benefit package. And when we talk of the outpatient benefit package, it includes, among others, consultation with a general practitioner, medical officer of health, clinical officer, psychiatrist, nutritionist, among others. It also includes the requisite laboratory investigation as per the Kenya Essential Package of Health. It also includes drug administration and dispensing. It includes preliminary radiological examination, X-ray, ultrasound, and others. It includes guidance and counseling, family planning, and many others. The second benefit package is the inpatient treatment, whereby you are admitted in a ward. For inpatient treatment, the benefit package includes, among others, consultation with a consultant, general practitioner, clinician, requisite laboratory investigations, drug administration and dispensing, room and nursing care, physiotherapy services, and others. The third is the highly patronized free maternity cover, popularly known as Linda Mama, which has, among others, the prenatal visits, the actual delivery, and the postnatal delivery. In NHIF, we know one thing, that our children are a blessing from God. And the government has been gracious enough to provide a comprehensive cover for expectant mothers. They say this, Mungu akileta mtoto, analeta na sahani yake. So in NHIF, we do cater for expectant mothers.
Yes.
The fourth benefit package is the renal dialysis or hemodialysis benefit package, whereby for members who are ailing from chronic kidney disease, we do provide for 2 dialysis sessions in a week at a rate of 9,500. In a month, we provide for around about 8 dialysis sessions. And the dialysis benefit package, it's comprehensive. It has the requisite consultation with a nephrologist. It has the requisite laboratory investigation, liver function disease, liver function test, and many others, plus the necessary drugs. The fifth benefit package is the diagnostic imaging benefit package, the radiology benefit package, which has the magnetic resonance imaging, that is MRI, computed tomography, CT scan, the new kid on the block, which is the PET scan, whereby we have a collaboration with the Aga Khan, and recently we have empaneled Kenyatta University for people who are ailing from cancer. The sixth benefit package is the surgical benefit package. And when we're talking of the surgical benefit package, it's divided into 3. We have minor surgeries, major surgeries, and specialized surgeries when we are talking of organ transplants. We are talking of total hip replacement, total knee replacement, open heart surgery, and many others. We have the highly patronized oncology benefit package, the cancer benefit package, that among others has one, chemotherapy, and for chemo, for first-line cancer or basic cancer, NHIF is obliged to pay for 6 sessions of chemo, and for every session, we pay up to Kenya shillings 25,000 that caters for our members comprehensively. Under the chemo benefit package, we do also have second-line or complex cancer, whereby NHIF is obliged to pay for 4 sessions up to 150,000 shillings per session. And of course, when we're talking of cancer, we do staging, whereby they do an MRI for purposes of carrying out staging. Under the cancer benefit package, we also have the radiotherapy, whereby we cater for 20 sessions for radiotherapy at a cost of 3,600. If you calculate that cumulatively, it translates to 72,000. And finally, we have the latest kid in town, brachytherapy, which is available in some facilities here in Nairobi Hospital and Cancer Care, whereby we cater up to 72,000. The other benefit package is the drug and substance abuse package. We are talking of matters mental health, and you remember we've come from a pandemic whereby matters mental health have been pronounced in this country. In fact, if you look at the papers every day, you see Kenyans either ailing from depression or committing suicide. The good news is that NHIF has a benefit package that caters for drug and substance abuse and mental health. We have the emergency evacuation benefit package, which many Kenyans are not aware, that in the unfortunate event you are involved in a road traffic accident, NHIF is obliged to send an ambulance, whereby we have a program with Red Cross, it's called E+, to send an ambulance to the site of the accident. You will have emergency first aid administered to you to stabilize you. Thereafter, you will be transported to the nearest NHIF empanel facility, and for that matter, we are talking of 7,666 healthcare facilities that are recognized across the country. Finally, we do have the overseas treatment benefit package. In the event you fall sick and the nature of your ailment warrants that there is no treatment available locally, then we can be able to facilitate your treatment in overseas, and the most common destination is India for further treatment. Of course, there are some requirements you must meet. Number 1, the attending consultant should complete an NHIF overseas treatment form. You must get clearance from the Director General in the Ministry of Health, whereby he writes a letter which is known as the no objection letter, that having looked at the nature of your sickness, is satisfied that the treatment is not locally available. You are referred to abroad for further treatment. Then you'll go to the Medical Practitioners and Dentist Council for verification that the referring consultant is a member of regular and good standing who has not only renewed his practice license up to date. Thereafter, you can submit those documents and the NHIF will be obliged to take you abroad for further treatment.
All right. You know, these are processes that, you know, if you haven't experienced, you would never get to understand what it means to just go through this entire process. And once again, we welcome you to share your questions, comments, clarifications. Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. I will be sampling some of your feedback in just not too long. I can already see them and we appreciate them. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1 and my handle is at Jane Wamboi. Now, let me come to you, Dr. Andrew. In line with the delivery of UHC, NHIF as an entity needed to undergo some amendments that, you know, tailor-make it the best delivery vehicle for UHC. Why is this important for you as a ministry to just ensure that you are also, the entity that you are going on board with is in line with the goal and the mission for UHC?
Thank you very much. I think I'll begin by saying that one, for NHIF to be the vehicle that the government thinks, a lot has been undergoing, both at NHIF and also in the health sector service delivery level.
Yes.
And he rightly mentioned that there has been a task force that has been looking at NHIF making recommendations on how NHIF can be reformed to be best suited to deliver UHC in this republic.
Yes.
And he has mentioned the recommendations in terms of structures, in terms of strengthening some of the issues. And I can assure Kenyans that the NHIF that they are used to is not the NHIF that we are talking about. I actually, Gilbert, don't know how we will rebrand in a way that Kenyans understand. The NHIF of yesteryears is not the NHIF that we are talking about. We are
because
talking
the
about
history is there.
A reformed NHIF.
Yes.
An NHIF that's not, we are no longer talking about hospital insurance, but health insurance.
Yes.
So it was necessary to make amendments to the law so that NHIF is made a hospital insurance fund, a health insurance fund from a hospital. And that is the basic of the legal amendments, so that the legal structure, the legal instruments can allow, one, the delivery of services outside the hospital. When I talked about the UHC that this country envisages to deliver is based on primary health care. It is, we are moving from the hospital to the community. And he has rightly mentioned the benefits. How is that possible? That is possible when we have what we call the hub and spoke model, where, like a level 4 hospital, usually serves a network of level 3 and level 2 facilities, health centers and dispensaries that refer to that facility. So we are established the primary healthcare network so that these hospitals can be able to support the level 2s, the level 3s, and the community level 1. So that screening services, by the time you talk about cancer package, you need to first prevent the cancer and make early diagnosis of the cancer. So screening services are now going to be taken care of. Primary healthcare services, you talked about family planning, you talked about immunization, you talked about these services that can be offered at community and lower level facilities are now able to be facilitated. Before we even come to NHIF, it is important that the journey of UHC is appreciated, so that we appreciate it is not just about the money and NHIF. The government in the last 10 years has invested in this journey, and to keep saying UHC is not a destination but a journey.
A journey, yes.
And even countries like Japan that began their journey of UHC in 1922, almost 100 years ago, are still working on improving their UHC. What, in other words, we are saying, when the Jubilee government came in 2012, the first thing that they did is to abolish user fees in level 2 and 3. So therefore, access to health care services in level 2 and 3, which is dispensary health centers, from 2013 has been without pay. So citizens are able to access services without pay. That is part of UHC journey. Introduced the Linda Mama as free health maternal services is a journey towards UHC. In terms of health system strengthening, through the UHC, during the pilot and immediately after the pilot period, we had a phase where we were strengthening the health system. The health system includes issues of human resources for health. I think we have engaged across the country close to 14,000 new healthcare workers to support UHC as part of health system strengthening. We have issues of health information systems. He's talking about biometric registration of persons or of beneficiaries. So that is part of UHC, because we want to have a system that identifies the clients, removing the issue of duplication, removing the issues of fraud, the issues of we are talking about support in health products and technologies. We have developed a list of products for laboratories, for drugs, for non-pharmaceuticals, essential packages, so that we know these are the critical commodities that you require. You are talking about the health financing structure, where we are talking about these facilities. Once NHIF gives money, for example, to public hospitals, where does the money go? We have a system of ring-fencing these funds, so that the funds are deployed in the health sector. The funds are deployed in the hospitals. These are conversations that has been ongoing. The issue of health infrastructure, the MES equipment project, is part of UHC. That you can't have UHC And when I prescribe for you a CT scan, you have to travel to Kisumu from Kitale to get it done. That is not. So this is a journey that the government has invested in. I've talked about MES, and you talk about now the healthcare services. Do we have the service provider? Do we have the services? You talked about PET scans that are now available in only 2 facilities in this country. We are setting up cancer treatment centers in centers of excellence. You're talking about Mombasa, Nakuru, Garissa, Kisii, and Kisumu as part of a journey towards UHC. Then the most important thing, which all these things cannot work without, and now I'm describing the health as a system, the leadership and governance. We have to engage the county governments, we have to engage our development partners, we have to engage the civil society, we have to engage all the stakeholders so that their role, their organization, their coordination delivers this animal we are calling UHC, which therefore means that for NHIF to deliver UHC, it is a system-wide approach. We are working with other sectors for registration of citizens, for community mobilization, for advocacy. We need the media, we need the national government administrative structures, we need the county governments. So it is the approach is a multi-sectoral approach towards UHC. The most important thing, however, is to make the ordinary citizen understand the benefits of UHC. And our cabinet secretary keeps saying, find someone has a vehicle, they have insured it, and they have not insured themselves. And he actually says, that is madness. And indeed it is. And that is what we need to tell Kenyans so that they know when you are covered, when you are insured, and he has mentioned the benefits, you are likely to be more productive, you are likely to build your wealth without having to worry about being impoverished by health.
Now, in line with helping Kenyans understand why it's important to just ensure your health, that brings us to the NHIF Amendment Bill of 2021. It was passed by the Parliament, and something that also the President acknowledged that is a step in the right direction. Now, there's some aspects of this bill that, some Kenyans had concerns around, and that's what I'd like for us to talk a bit about. And number one, some was saying that it is unfair to require all households, including the poor, to pay the premium, bringing in the aspect of mandatory membership. Let me come to you, Gilbert. This aspect of it being mandatory in line with UHC, how is that important?
Thank you, Jen, and thank you, because one of the key things we are currently doing is sensitizing Kenyans on the benefits of the NHIF Amendment Act 2022. Allow me to use an analogy. A story is told whereby a company in the US employed a sales representative to go and market some health juice. And in the first 3 months, the salesman could not be able to sell any juice. And when the management sought to know why there were no sales, the sales representative informed them that he was selling juice. And this is what the management told him. Do not sell the juice, but sell the benefits that accrue from drinking the health juice. And in a nutshell, he became one of the best sales representatives for that company. What am I trying to say? I want to appeal to Kenyans to look at the NHIF Amendment Act 2022 from an holistic perspective. Let us focus our attention on the benefits that accrue from passage of that act. And I want to call it the act of the century, because remember, from 1963 to date, it has taken 60 years plus for us to be able to have a bill that domiciles universal health coverage in this country. But I'll go to where the rubber meets the road. What are the key areas of amendment before I answer your question? Number one, the name of the fund. Number two, sustain. To being a strategic purchaser of healthcare services. And I mentioned earlier on the mission of NHIF to provide affordable, to to contribute towards universal health coverage by providing affordable, accessible, sustainable, quality health care through strategic risk pooling and strategic purchasing of healthcare services in collaboration with the stakeholders.
Yes.
At NHIF, we realize that the customer is the king and is always right. Number 4, protecting the interest of the contributors. And finally, improving governance and representation of stakeholders. I want to tell Kenyans, indeed, we've come from an area of challenge and a bit of controversy. Wanasema, mgalu mnyonge lakini haki yake mpe. Yes, we've had challenges in reputation owing to some errors of omission. But all is not lost. In the new dispensation,
yes,
stakeholders presented their opinions to the health financing report expert panel. And what came out that there was need to improve the governance structure of NHIF.
Okay.
Now I'll go to the key areas of improvement and break them one by one. As earlier mentioned,
in a condensed form due to the interest of time.
Yeah, first of all, I'll start with the name. The name, the National Hospital Insurance Fund, has ceased to exist after the amendment bill was accented by the president. In place, we have the National Health Insurance Fund. Okay. What does it mean to Kenyans? The new name is a reflection of the true mandate of NHIF, which must be broader than payment of hospital bills in order to sustain universal health coverage. The other bit, expanding healthcare providers on what can be empaneled in NHIF. Remember, we used only to empanel and contract hospital. But in the new dispensation, we have taken cognizance of the entire healthcare ecosystem. We are talking of empaneling specialized services. We have providers who only offer, for example, diagnostic imaging. And for the first time, they've been catered for. The second bit is the mandate of the fund, whereby we are talking of empanelment and contracting, which enables the fund be a strategic purchaser of healthcare services.
Yes.
Previously, we used to be a passive purchaser. We've moved on to a strategic purchaser of healthcare services. I come to the key one that you've asked, sustaining UHC. It is not enough to pass the UHC bill, but where the rubber meets the road is how do we ensure that UHC is sustained for posterity of this country. And the new legislation has provided that for those who can pay, let them pay. For those who cannot pay, they will be identified and subsidized by the government. The question you asked is, why are we making it mandatory?
Yes.
Remember, the definition of universal health coverage is ensuring all persons have access to the much needed healthcare services that is preventive, promotive, rehabilitative, and curative without exposure to financial hardship or catastrophic out-of-pocket expenditure. The key word is all citizens. How do we ensure everyone? Honestly speaking, for the people who are in gainful employment, either by being informal or informal sector, who can be able to pay. And I speak from hindsight that health is wealth. Let them be members.
Okay.
For those who cannot pay, the government has put into place adequate mechanism to be able to cater for themselves.
All right. Now, let me bring in Dr. Andrew at that particular point. The other aspect of this bill, which I believe you can also just share with us your thoughts, was in regards to the those with private health insurers as well. And looking at this particular bill, they will be required to bill their other private insurer first before they come to NHIF. Why is this important for the ministry, for NHIF, and overall speaking, for the proper delivery of UHC?
I think I'll start by saying, again, the issue of benefits for indigent and mandatory payments. He has mentioned it, and social protection in this country has been ongoing. We have had programs, even under NHIF, targeting those, the vulnerable, the poor, who cannot afford to pay.
Yes.
Currently, I think we have several programs that are running, and what the ministry is doing is to, working with social protection, we are able to identify indigents who cannot afford. But for people who cannot afford, who can afford, we are saying it is mandatory to pay. Before this question, I talked about people who are able to insure a car. That before you get your business license, for example, you are running a business. You need to have the government is trying to get a mechanism to ensure that you can or you should be able to prove that you are a member of NHIF. If you are buying a car, if you are paying insurance for your car, you need to show proof of insurance. And this is now the regulation. And I am preempting what the government intends to do so that we are able to identify those who actually cannot afford. And we have many mechanisms because it's unlikely that you are able to pay and you have money and you don't interact with government because you will be KRA returns, all those things. We are able to know this has the ability to pay.
Yes.
So those ones we are going to ensure that those who can't pay, the government through the social protection mechanisms is going to pay for the indigents. And that has been ongoing. I think over 1.2 million households have now been enrolled. Households that are unable to pay have already been enrolled. And this will grow. I think the total number of indigents is estimated to be about 5.2. And there will be an annual assessment so that we know who has grown out of poverty. Because I was in the university and my family probably was poor when I was in the university. But when I start earning, then the family has moved out of poverty. So, we have to look at that dynamism of moving in and out of the indigent group.
Okay.
Then the other issue that you had raised is about now the amendment to the Act, which I said, like he has rightly mentioned, the Act now gives NHIF mandate. First, to develop regulations, mechanisms of ensuring that they pool as much resources as possible and move from what he has mentioned, from hospital to a health service as a ecosystem provider, a strategic public health purchaser.
Yes.
What are we saying? We are saying, and I mentioned about screening. When you look at the incidence of non-communicable diseases, cancers, diabetes, hypertension, probably if NHIF became passive as it has been and wait for the patient to come to the hospital, we will never manage that. But in the new NHIF, we will be able to say, how can we reverse? How can we stop the diseases before they come in? So health promotion comes in,
promotive,
advocacy, education becomes part of the benefits that citizens are able to get through NHIF. So in other words, this change, amendment in law now opens up the NHIF to actually deliver health as what health.
All right.
Health is not just the absence of disease. Yes.
All right, and that is a definition that most people get wrong. Now, as we bring this conversation to a close, due to the interest of time, once again, let me start with you, Dr. Andrew, looking at further enhancing the sensitization and awareness levels among the population, excuse me, when it comes to UHC. What would be your recommendations to all the anyone who has a role to play in the value chain, and especially targeting the common man in chief? Very briefly.
Thank you very much. At the Ministry of Health, we have an army of 90,000 community health workers, volunteers across the Republic of Health of Kenya, and we are going to work with these community health volunteers and workers across the country. First, to reach out to communities at the community level.
Yes.
We are working with national government administrative structures to ensure that the Nyumba Kumis, we message this message to the citizens. We are going to use the media to reach out to the citizens. We are going to use both media in print, in electronic, social media, all forms of media to reach out to the citizens. We are going to actively move out of our offices and engage the community to ensure that as many people first understand what this NHIF. And the most important thing is to bring out to Kenyans that the NHIF, and I repeat this a million times, the NHIF that they were talking about or they have thought or interacted with in the previous years is not the NHIF of today. The NHIF of today is from organizational, from responsiveness in terms of payment of claims, in terms of the services, the benefits.
The delivery process.
Yes, is a different NHIF.
Okay.
And that is the message that we are telling Kenyans, that it is important to register to NHIF, so that you should not worry about your health. You should worry about your other human needs and not health.
Gilbert, as we close this conversation very briefly, we have about a minute to go. What needs to be done to ensure awareness among the population in line with UHC and NHIF is going higher and higher to just ensure also with the delivery when it comes to your part?
Thank you, Jane. At NHIF, with our principal, the Ministry of Health, we put into place an elaborate program to roll out or activate UHC in the counties. Remember, on the 7th of February, His Excellency the President launched
the national
rollout of UHC in Mombasa County. And we are still continuing with the momentum. Plans are advanced that we will visit the remaining 46 counties for purposes of activation of UHC. The activation will include, among others, engagement with our customers and our members. And when I talk of our members, both the super cover members, enhanced scheme members, and the indigents, we shall be able to demystify, break down the benefit package, so that Mama Mboga back in the village can understand what is his entitlement when it comes to beneficiary, the scope of benefit package. We are also actively involved in the print and electronic media, and we want to thank KBC for hosting us this morning, whereby we are using these forums to reach out to the public and sharing with them what is happening at NHIF. It is the mandate of NHIF to sensitize its members across the country.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is also in line with sensitizing you as a Kenyan citizen to better understand what UHC is all about and the strategic role that NHIF has to play when it comes to the national delivery of universal health care coverage, however best resonates with you. This is why we are having such conversations. But for now, we have to pause at that particular point. We have once again been speaking with Gilbert Osoro, who is the manager in charge of Universal Health Scheme under NHIF, as well as Dr. Andrew Mulwa, who is the director in charge of medical services in preventive and promotive health under the Ministry of Health. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. That is that. We want to bid you goodbye, but be sure to join us again tomorrow morning here on Good Morning Kenya. On behalf of the crew, I am Jane Wamboy. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.